president thinks that people are being paid to go to the streets. And they think I'm the financier. So when they went to my bank account, there's no money. So they thought I have money in, like I have a safe. I don't even have a safe in my home or even in my office. I don't even own a gun. I don't carry guns. I don't own any weapons. So so they thought I had money in the office. If you look at the search warrant, that they have information that I use Mageuzi to distribute money to goons.
On his part, Vocal Africa CEO Hussein Khalid has urged the Judicial Service Commission to ensure that justice is served to prevent the filing of false cases that aim to harm innocent Kenyans.
Boniface Mwangi is not a terrorist. He has not been involved in any form of arson. This intimidation must end, and it must end now. And our demand, first of all, is to the ODPP, those who are approving this kind of charges on innocent protesters. The ODPP must exercise Article 157 of the Constitution to make independent decisions on what to charge.
Mwangi was released on a 1 million shillings bond, with the court ordering him to return to court on August 19th. Trans Nzoia County Governor Georgina Tembe has officially returned to office after the completion of a 60-day court order barring him from entering the premises following a corruption case filed by the EACC. Tembe has strongly criticized those who claimed that the ban was to last 90 and not 60 days.
Officially, I'm back in office. I was quite reluctant to come here, and I can't stay too long. I want to give those guys as much time as possible. If they want to come here, they need to come. I've come here is quite symbolic because there are people out there who spreading rumor that Natembeya ameongezwa kufika 90 days, 120 days, 300 days. Of course, if I wouldn't have come here today, that rumor will just be confirmed. So I want to tell them that the 60 days are over. We're going to make arrangements to move to the new office in the course of the week. It will just be a small function. We can just bring around maybe religious leaders, we pray, and then we start working.
The governor has also warned against the use of EACC for political purposes, saying that the body should function independently. Tembe has said that he'll now use the remaining time in office to ensure the implementation of important development projects.
These kind of shenanigans are really expected. I want to assure you that this has got nothing to do with work. And actually there was also attempts then to stop me from working from sub-county offices. It's basically politics. The matter, of course, is still alive in court. But in the spirit of transparency and accountability, I keep on challenging those honjos at ESCC to really come out and tell the world, like they have always done, when they raid people's homes and offices. But good people, when they're being committed, we have another almost 2 years to the next election. Let us do the best we can. Let's not be afraid. Let's do those big projects.
Nairobi High Court Judge Charles Ondiek barred Tembe from accessing his office to prevent him from tampering with evidence in his case. Tembe was released on bail of 500,000 Kenya shillings after being linked to the embezzlement of 3.35 million shillings from the county through companies linked to his associates. And finally, prime suspect in the murder of Multimedia University student Sylvia Kemto was denied bond pending a further assessment report on his mental health. Eric Mutinda, who's accused of killing Kemto in March, appeared before the Kibra High Court. The court nullified his earlier not guilty plea after a psychiatric report found him unfit to stand trial and ruled that he remains in custody until his mental condition improves, with monthly mentions to assess his mental fitness. Now, Kemto's body was dumped in a hostel tank at Multimedia University. Pathologists said she was strangled and had sustained head injuries caused by a blunt object. That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, stagi kuongea today. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Waliletea fujo Moi mpaka wakapata cooperation. Wakakuja wakasumbua Kibaki mpaka wakachukua nusu mkate. Wamekuja wakazungusha Uhuru hapo mpaka wakaenda na handshake, program yetu ikapotea, BBI ikaendelea, tukazama, tukaingia kwa madeni. Sasa mimi nimewaambia, hii serikali hii, mimi nawaambia hii serikali ni ya mahasla. Hakuna nusu mkate, hakuna handshake, hakuna hiyo borojo.
Jana nimeona wale wazee tulishinda. Ati hiyo mzee akisema ati he'll not be coerced or intimidated to joining our government. Wewe mzee sikia. We have no business within our government. Hatuna haja na hatugojei wewe. We are not looking for you and we have no time. Stop saying that people can force you to come to this government. Forget about being forced or coerced. We are not interested because sisi tuko na kazi ya kufanya.
Kama kuna mtu ako na namba ya William Ruto, arekodi hii video mtumie. Maisha yangu tangu nizaliwe sijawahi kuona mtu muongo, mfisadi, baradhuli, dhabdhabina kama William Samuel Ruto.
Mimi Hassan Joho nikitaka kuongea, mimi I don't even dream of engaging with them. Ati huyu akitaka aje aongee sio na mimi niongee na Ruto nini? Mimi nikamtafute atanipa nini? Wilbaro. I wonder. Nilipeleka Wilbaro mimi la kimtaani la kucheza nalo zamani.
We have a choice to reject over 60% of these names or give President Ruto his skunk. Apart from a few individuals who are not even more than 8, the rest are incompetent, unqualified, have integrity issues, are people who cannot deliver this country from where it is to the next level that we want the country to move in.
A few moments later.
Now forwarded the name of John Mbadi Ngongo to the Ministry of National Treasury and Economic Planning. The Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs.
Nguruwe kujiganga na mafuta yake. The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people. And we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship. And even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that will reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Imabo, utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human, everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, stagi kuongea today. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Traffic.
Good morning. Taking a look at what's happening on the roads today as we get into Tuesday, and already starting to build on the Thika Superhighway coming into the city. So it's already saying a very good morning to you as you get in from the Allsops Junction. It's going to pile up coming then closer into the city. Also, one to watch off of the Eastern Bypass going towards North Airport Road. Traffic has started. It's starting, so we're still okay. And as you come off of Outer Ring, in and outbound traffic is starting to do the thing. Outbound on Outer Ring, as you then get over towards the Manyanja Road, crossover through towards Jogoo Road, that'll build up some as well. Are we seeing traffic on Kiambu Road? Not so much. And it also looks free on Limuru Road getting towards the city. And this is all via the Thika Superhighway on one side or Wangari Maathai Way on the other. Coming out of Westlands, looking good as well. And you're okay on Gong Road. The Southern Bypass is looking good coming in from the Uhuru Gardens interchange, and Magadi Road looks good as well. It's still slim pickings for Tuesday. We'll keep an eye on all of this and keep things moving this morning. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
And this is when we say good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Tuesday. Dennis Okari, good morning.
Good morning.
You owe me 10,000 shillings.
I do?
Yes, you do.
No. From where?
Do you know they're witnesses?
Oh, about yesterday. No, you didn't call me, Aseto.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So you owe me 10,000 shillings?
No, I didn't say if you don't call me, I'm going to give you. There's
I
no
said,
record,
though.
there's no evidence.
But I said, though.
Produce the Hansard records.
There is a
Produce the audio records. I never said anything like that.
In fact, Raniar, come here. Raniar?
Raniar, come. Where is he?
He's
No,
there
can I
trying
go
to
get
hide.
him?
He's hiding. He's
Can I
there
go
wearing
get him?
black covering his head as though he's not.
Can I?
There
No,
are
I can't-
witnesses.
I can't read signs. What are you saying? Did I say I'm going to give her 10,000?
Say yes, Raniar.
I did that.
Thank you very
You
much.
have evidence?
Mm-hmm.
You have evidence?
There's
nothing like that. No, I just said.
Here we go.
I said. I have a very strong feeling. You're going to call me. And if you do, you're going to give me 10,000.
Oh,
But I never
really?
said if you don't, I'm going to give you 10,000.
Okay, so you're those kind of poker players, eh?
No, I'm not, by the way. No, there's no records that I did that.
Okay. You know, it's because I've known you for so long and you're really, 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 really dear friend to me. So for this time, I will let you
You'll
off.
forgive me?
For this time, I will let you off the hook.
Which hook? I never put myself in any hook.
I am the fisherman,
In
I
the
have the
first
hook.
No, produce the audio.
It's coming.
We
You know, all
want
of these
evidence.
things are on record.
We want evidence.
Lakini.
But the week is still young.
Okay, so let's see.
The week is still young.
Let's see. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Are you sure?
Not very, but yeah, trying.
The voice, is it possible that your voice would be deeper? Because today
It's not.
or raspier. That's what I'm saying. Who would have thought that it's possible that your voice could be raspier? You have a cold.
Oh
I'm
my
so
god!
sorry.
Yeah, I have a very nasty cold. I'm today for the first time. I'm not even having coffee. I'm having something that's a mix of ginger, garlic, honey, lemon. Sometimes I'll do cloves, mixed cloves.
You're a walking apothecary.
Turmeric. The only thing with turmeric is it will just yellow everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not bad. I actually had some yesterday.
Yeah,
It's
it
not
will
like
look
a-
bad on me on air. My lips are yellow. Like,
No, not like that. Honestly, when you mix it with other things, it doesn't take on the color on your skin.
well, I do that sometimes, but I'm looking for something really, really strong that can just knock this thing out.
I have
You
the-
promised to tell me something.
I do. I have the tabs for you, man. It's what
It's medicine.
Yeah.
I was thinking we're going natural.
No, we are, but sometimes you need to give it a bit of a kick.
Okay, and that kick works?
It's a little. I was gonna say, it's one little pill. It's an antihistamine, but it will at least now allow the natural stuff to come in and do the business.
I've tried antihistamines, but I don't know.
This one.
Wait, it will knock me down like sleep?
No, you won't sleep. But it will knock out those symptoms proper, and then now the concoctions can do their.
I'm looking for one that one day I walked to a chemist.
Yeah.
I told the guy, dude, I don't have a prescription, but I want something that will lock me down to sleep for 12 hours. I need to sleep.
And you did?
Because I've tried so many other different, they don't really work. So he said, for that you'll need a prescription. I'm like, don't talk to me like I'm Dennis Okari. Me, I just want something.
Don't think I'm investigating
yes.
you.
You know how sometimes you just want shortcuts. And the guy refused. He said, no, you have to bring a prescription. But I applaud the guy. I mean, it's not so many places where you get somebody who will tell you, I can't sell you if you don't have something written down.
Yeah.
So he told me it was a mix, it was something herbal. He gave me something herbal. I'm trying to remember the name. He said, take one tablet and that will be good. Nothing happened. I took 2. Still nothing happened.
Tell me you added another one and then slept till something.
No, I didn't. I didn't want to overdose. I went back and I asked, this thing doesn't really work. Then he told me, now combine this with this other. I was like, now you're selling stuff to me. Now I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
Did you take it?
No, I didn't. I just felt it was just selling me stuff. It's not good to dump medicine in your body.
That's very true. Actually, I try to stay away from as much as we can, but hey.
Especially when you reach this age.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
But
you're good?
Still young. I mean, I'm fine. I'm good. Yep. Another day without sugar. So, we just continue. Keep at it.
This is week what?
This is week 3.
Week 3?
Yep.
I'm entering my 3rd month.
Gosh.
No sugar, 3 months.
We keep going. We keep striving.
Yep.
It's Tuesday. It's the 22nd of July. So many things are happening today. In the CBC system and then through towards the forms. Learners started exams yesterday, and we're going into the final week of the term, second term, so it's ending next week. So that's going on. And also here in the Situation Room, good morning, and a number of conversations that we will be having today. Shall I let you know what those will be? Today, we told you about this a little bit earlier. We will be having a conversation firstly at 7 a.m. Around what the new TSC's deal for Kenya's education means. The Secretary General of the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, is Akello Misori. Akello joins us at 7 a.m. There was a conversation and there was a deal finally that was struck for all the demands that teachers had been making for a while now. They've struck a deal. Let's hear what that deal will be and how then it will change the course of education from a teacher's perspective, and then of course affecting learners as well.
A big, beautiful deal.
I know.
Yeah.
It's on paper. It was signed. Let's see what it actually will come to be. Cindy, the Cabinet Secretary for Energy and Petroleum is former Ugunja Member of Parliament, Opio Wandai. He is going to join us at 8 a.m. and we'll be looking into the blueprint for affordable power. That's the umbrella of it because that's what he leads. There's so much that goes on and ever since he came into place, what have we seen change? What have we seen improve? What are the hopes for the future for Kenya in this sector? And then finally, Davis Okombo is a children's rights activist. This will be part 3 of the series that we've been looking into of what happens to learners in schools. The abuse index is unfortunately rising. This is a conversation that we must continue to have to protect our learners while in school under the care of teachers and other staff. So he joins us and we'll be looking into protecting innocence, confronting child abuse and violence in Kenya. So that's what we're looking at this Tuesday. Karibuni Sana. Our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook and on X. Our audience on KTN this morning, good morning and welcome. As we get into things today, you took us to Senegal, where tall, dark and handsome came to Kenya in the form of kisses.
Yeah, that's where we I was told by someone our heritage is from West Africa. So but we are cousins. Nigeria, we're cousins.
Hi cousin.
Yes. So from the Republic of Senegal, our proverb today: if someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself. If someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself.
Wow.
It sounds like those things where you're trying to look for gossip, eh?
Yeah.
If you're not telling me that story, I will know. Look around and ask somebody else
I will know.
to tell me that thing. But a deeper introspection. If someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself. You must do some digging. You go first.
I guess that if you really want to know something and that the information is in this person who's refusing to give you this information or refusing to tell you, there are other options. I guess that's it for me. That there is always another option. That you never really hit the wall. That even the wall, if you're up against the wall, there's a way through the wall for me. And even if it takes some time to chip through it, you'll get there. Options are abound, I think.
That's interesting. So you have options. Meaning you're never stuck.
You're never really stuck.
Yeah.
You always have, there's always
alternatives.
Thank you, that's the word. You always have alternatives. I think that's how I would look at it. Yeah. In some things.
A lot of truth in that. My interpretation will be simple. There's a scripture that actually, a lot of these proverbs, surprisingly, I find, like if you read the book of Proverbs, like the Bible, there are a lot of proverbs, not just in the African context, but a lot of this very, what you call wisdom nuggets that our forefathers used to drop through history And these people never actually read some of these things. A lot of them never even read the Bible.
Yeah.
But for some reason, a lot of the things that he would say, when you still go back and read some of the things in the Bible, makes a lot of sense. There's a scripture that talks about it is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but it is the glory of kings to search out a matter.
Search out a matter.
Okay, so my interpretation is simply knowledge is you search for knowledge. Knowledge is never presented to you on a plate. You have to search it out. So what you're given is information. What you do with that information is up to you.
It's up to you.
So you seek knowledge, you search out knowledge, and you have to really be persistent in searching out, because the spirit of searching really means you're resilient. You're not, like you're saying, you have options. You're not stopping at one thing that this is not working. Then it's that spirit of resilience to say, okay, I'm still going to find out the truth. I'm going to keep digging. And for like 20 years, that's what I've always done. Like, when you talk about investigative journalism,
that's what you've done.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And it takes time. It takes time, and you really have to be persistent. So the idea here is, it's not measuring time when you're seeking out knowledge. It's not about time. No, it's not about time.
It's not about time.
It's not about time when you seek knowledge. It is, how deep do you want to go? It's not going wide, it's just going deep. How deep do you want to go in searching out that truth?
Do you really want to go? And if you get to this place and you don't get it, you can go to another and deeper because this is what you're looking for.
Exactly. So don't wait to be told.
Yeah.
Take time and find out. Like somebody said, libraries today are like, what? They're like cemetery of books.
Exactly, a cemetery of knowledge and ideas.
Yeah. How many people go to the library?
Well, I do, only because I'm studying. But hey,
not so many people do.
Not so many people.
Actually, how many people read books?
Exactly.
You know?
Sadly.
Yeah.
Well, this is where we are, guys. That's a great proverb, actually, and then be able to look into it a little bit deeper. Good morning, everybody, and we can see that you're in the house today. So just saying a good morning to you. Lydiah and Raniar are here and just making things work there. Raniar, I'm telling you, a time will come. All this thing that you're hiding, it will come out. You just don't worry. I find you. I know where you live. But, making things happen, and thank you so much for doing so. Let's say good morning to everybody who's tuned in. Good morning, great ones. King Dave Lubale, see you getting into it this morning. Tuned in from Washington is Bosco Matua. Good morning from Mombasa, says Peter Kiaria. He says, your confidence grows as you take action. You don't need to feel confident to start, but when you start, you'll feel more confident. So start where you are. I love it. Leo says, good morning. Hello, Princess Ndu, Dennis, and Aseto. Aseto is somewhere in Garissa right now, doing what he needs to do. And for quickfire queries, which institutions in Kenya are performing constitutionally? That's something to find out. You can actually do a trivia game with that one. Abraham Kimeli is tuned in. Robert Mbogo tuned in from Mombasa. Isaac Nderito is in Luxembourg this morning and says, Ruto shot himself in the foot by impeaching Rigathi Gachagua. Really? Okay. Jumbo Kenya, says Jimmy Gakio. Tuned in from Bonnie Lake is Joe Mungai. Good morning to you. And he says, our police are parents first, then policemen and women. Okay. Good morning from the land of 1,000 hills, says Michael Olande. Margaret Wajohi, good morning. Tuned in from Houston, Texas. Always good to be here. I know it's going in tonight. Now, Apenda Nyote, thank you so much for joining us. Isa Kale, good morning. Time for my daily dose. Good Wednesday, y'all. Okay, well, it's Tuesday, honey, but okay. Bernardito says good morning from Doha and have a good day. Asante Sana. Leo is tuned in and says, which politician on the right side of power spews is abhorrent? Okay, well, something to look into. Kisa Daniel is tuned in from the Pearl of Africa. Good morning, guys, says Erica War. We see you. Good morning. Good morning from Nairobi, says Kenyan. Good morning, Kenyan. Good to have you here today. Kimathi Kruma McConnell says, Habari Leo Spice family. The station where truth, transparency, and accountability is the order of the day. Gotta keep pushing every day, no matter what. Bernardo Dongo says, good morning, tuned in from Mabanga, Bungoma. Alafu, what's this I'm hearing about the world coming to an end on the 1st of August? Oh, wow, we've got like 6 days. Abi, the world is coming to an end on the 1st of August. Did you know?
Real? Who says who?
I don't know. They've said it before, but this could be the one.
That's a prophet?
Who knows? This could be... Hey, there's Raniar.
Oh, Raniar is here.
Hi, Raniar.
Yes.
Just say hi. It's okay.
Just wave. Just wave. Just wave.
Raniar
Which camera now?
I don't know. Lydiah is going to do the thing.
Oh, he even knows that's camera 4.
He knows.
Oh, you know your cameras, young man.
This is Raniar making things happen back there. How are you? We even give you the juice.
How's your morning?
I'm good. You?
You're good?
We're fine.
So,
yeah.
Do you want to interpret our proverb today?
No, thank you.
No, if someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself.
Find out yourself.
Really?
You can't come to the situation room and fail to interpret a proverb.
Okay.
Just do that and then we'll allow you to go.
What's the proverb?
Yeah.
I've just said it.
He wasn't listening. He was making things happen
This
back
young
there.
man. Who's confusing you?
It's Lydiah. I'm supposed to...
Oh, Lydiah's confusing you.
Yeah, I'm supposed to make sure like the show is running smoothly.
Okay.
So
And it is, yeah?
Interpretation of proverb is not your thing.
Okay.
No, interpret.
Give
If someone
me the
doesn't tell
proverb.
you, you must find out yourself. Taran, taran. This is where we know if your parents paid school fees.
If they paid. But whatever you doing,
Did you use the school fees?
whatever you doing in school, it's none of their business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
For the interpretation. Whatever.
If somebody doesn't tell you, you must find out.
Yes.
At the end of the day, the truth must be put, like, it should be known to everyone. So whatever you don't find out tonight, like, let's say like something's happening and no one tells you, eventually one way or the other, somebody, let's say people call it intuition, or let's say like somebody else will tell you like something is happening and you'll eventually find out.
You'll get to know.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
It's not just brick and mortar, there's brains there as well.
Oh, really?
Intuition.
I'm telling you.
Intuition. Okay.
Thank you, Raniar.
Intuition. See, that was so easy.
Easy. No problem.
Now, tomorrow, it's Lydiah.
Tomorrow, Lydiah,
No
be
hiding.
ready. What do
Raniar has set the
yeah.
standard for you.
Peter Gekitao is tuning in this morning. Locked in from Mukunda is General Isa Mathenge, and Dr. Venvik is here as well. Rogers Lai, good morning. Geraldino Chieng says good morning. Bwangi Juma, Zorata Kev, Fiery Red says good morning. Tuned into the conversations. Stars and sparkles to you too, Fiery Red. Safari Jamal is tuned in, and Issa, you say, oh, you meant Tuesday. Yeah, indeed. Christina, good morning, my sister. Kumbe Rain Raniar ni kichwa ngumu. Saa zingine. Nyakundi Emmanuel says good morning. Kintrust, we see you. Let's not call people clowns, shall we? Or we can end this conversation right here. Vincent Ndisho says good morning. Spice, another day to remind ourselves that we work hard. Kenyan says Ndu is looking telegenic Tuesdays. Kesa. What is that? Sir Brian Mutego says good morning. Norbert Awar is tuned in. He said I should give you jollof rice. So tomorrow, jollof rice on me for you, Dennis.
So that's a promise?
Yes.
Jollof rice tomorrow.
I promise I'll bring.
In the morning?
You'll have it for breakfast.
Okay.
And you'll tell the
right here.
Right here.
Okay.
And you'll tell the people how it tastes.
Can't wait.
I got you. Okay. Mtuflani says good morning. Stanley Gash is tuned in. Gishine Mwangi says good morning. Atieno, good morning from Kilifi. Good morning from Nairobi to you in Kilifi, and good morning from Kilifi to us. Good morning, sister. Frederick is here. Martino's tuned in. And Richard Odera says, good morning. It is not boiling nicely. Cindio, Charles is here. Evans is tuned in. Benya with the big news mta. Kuri Samuel, Chris Maura, Juris Tiriwa. So many people in the room this morning. I'm not forgetting you, but I'm definitely seeing you. Gilbert Kipkirui, Thomas Omosa, Paris Mudhoni, Carol Nyambura, tunakupenda sana Pierre. Paris, good morning. The sisters here, Margaret Gadhoni, Ndu Nduta, and Dennis. I know. If I didn't get to you, it didn't mean I didn't see you. But guys, good morning, everybody. Karibuni sana sana. Always great to have you in the room as we start off things this morning. And we get into those conversations as it's necessary that we do.
Awesome.
So thanks for being here. Let us look into the headlines, shall we? On the front page of Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard. Cornered by public. A flood of disapproval from an increasingly frustrated citizenry yesterday pushed the struggling Director of Public Prosecutions to drop the far-fetched terrorism charge against rights activist Boniface Mwangi. The DPP later issued a press statement defending the decision to level such bizarre charges against activists, critics of the Ruto administration, and protesters. After the DCI's terrorism claims against Mwangi failed the test and were dropped from the charge sheet, Kenyans now want the outrageous charges against 37 others withdrawn as well. So, according to James Orengo, who is the Siaya governor, and he was also in defense of Boniface Mwangi in court yesterday. It's ridiculous to charge Boniface Mwangi and our children who have demonstrated a high level of political consciousness with terrorism. Protected speech and political action should never be criminalized. So that happened. Yes, it did. And people were awash and they said, you know what? Okay, so if we're going to drop it here, there are 37 others who are under this charge, which the CIS, Morkumen, said that that's a little bit of money if you're asking for bail against charges of terrorism. So if they were dropped here, then the 37 others who've been charged should also be dropped. We'll look into that story as well. Murder in Ward 7B is another headline. 7B is not a ward somewhere next to somewhere else. It's actually a ward in the biggest referral hospital in the country. Level 6 hospital, Kenyatta National Hospital. This is the second murder that has taken place in the same ward in less than 3 months. In about 3 months.
You know, that story reads like a crime series.
Yes, it does. Same ward. And a gentleman, mysterious Kalombotole, and the Kenyatta National Hospital horror. We're going to look into the story in just a minute in details. But what are the odds that it happened in the same ward, in the same quarter of the same year? Breastfeeding rate stagnates, putting infants in harm's way. We do know, it's been proven that breastfeeding is the most natural and safest nutrition for your child up until and even after 6 months. But now we're seeing, according to this story, that many women are not breastfeeding their children, and it's putting children in harm's way. It could be a voluntary decision, or it could be for other reasons. Maybe there's not enough breast milk or whatever. But we'll look into that as well. Government eats humble pie after observed charges against Mwangi collapse. He's freed and terror charges are dropped. Wave of unrest shakes schools as learners protest abuse and neglect. We did see that video that went viral over the weekend about learners in a particular school who said, come on, we didn't have dinner last night and we woke up this morning, we should have at least had porridge, uji, and we were given hot water. And imagine the young man actually said, you imagine hata ingekuwa na sukari ndani, it would have been different. But it didn't. So we're going to look into that as well. How China firm got prime city land for what? For free. Things like that still happen. All right, those are the headlines that we look into. Let me look at the sports pages real quick on the standards. And if I can, it would be great to turn a page. I believe that my fingers still work. And so, yeah, we know that Kenya played match friendly in preparation for Chan. Be serious, Kenyan fans tell Harambee Stars ahead of Chan. And mixed reactions as Harambee Stars withdrew from the CAFA 4 Nations despite traveling. So now they're saying, boss, if this is how you're behaving, how are you going to behave when it comes to Chan? We are not interested in this kind of thing. So that's what it's looking like, and why new NOC K boss Maluki has tough task ahead as he takes over from Terragat. Paul Terragat sat in that National Olympic Committee Kenya chapter office for a while. He takes over, and as Maluki, it's said that he's going to have tough times ahead. So he's got to actually rein in a lot of things. Okay, over to you.
So the Daily Nation. Eyes on judiciary as state turns up the heat on critics. Looks like this is one of the major stories in today's dailies. Judicial independence in the country is facing a litmus test following calls by the executive to mete out harsh penalties on opposition politicians, anti-government protesters and civil society activists, some of who are facing terrorism charges and have been slapped with hefty bail and bond terms over their alleged involvement in recent youth-led protests. Will the judiciary succumb to this push or abide by the law and the constitution? Pages 4 and 5 of that story. Ministry raises concern as working-class mothers avoid breastfeeding. That story is also there.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 10 mothers in Kenya are not breastfeeding their babies at all. Instead, relying entirely on bottle feeding, according to the latest data from the Ministry of Health. So the State Department for Public Health and Professional Standards reports that bottle feeding has increased by 12% points, rising from 22% in 2022 to 34% in 2025. And this worrying trend is primarily driven by working class mothers. Wamama wamekataa hawanyonyeshi.
Wow.
According to these reports. Details of that story, inside pages. Shakahola 2, cult horror resurfaces in Kilifi. Now, this is another crime story. You know.
Oh, Lord.
So, detectives in Kilifi County are investigating whether a suspect cult uncovered in the Binzaro area is linked to the infamous Shakahola cult, which is blamed for the deaths of over 400 people. A visit to the homestead in the vast Chakama location, where one man was found dead while 4 others were rescued on Saturday in frail condition, revealed what at first appeared to be a remote rural settlement. The property is surrounded by thorny shrubs and has a single main entrance. That story.
Another one.
Yes, it's another one. So, to another story here. Prove your contribution to claim matrimonial assets. Spouses have been told. So,
Notice how my ears just did what?
I know. So, upon divorce, each party must prove his or her contribution to the property's acquisition.
Oh, okay.
So, you have to prove your contribution to claim any matrimonial assets. So, spouses do not automatically hold equal rights or beneficial interest to the matrimonial property, even if they are registered as joint owners. The High Court has basically ruled.
Okay.
So your 2 names are there, but still doesn't guarantee that you're going to have a split.
Got it.
No, you must prove your contribution. So according to Justice Ruben Nyakundi, upon dissolution of the marriage, a party must prove his or her contribution to the property's acquisition to enable the court determine the percentage available to him or to her. So this is where, in short, weka receipt. Keep the receipts.
Keep them, because you never know.
You paid using mobile money.
Keep it.
Keep the screenshot. You paid using a bank transfer. Keep the statements with you. Basically, that's what it means. Now, rights activists dread new state of terror. You know, yesterday I tried speaking to somebody over this issue. And truthfully speaking, people are afraid to just even share their thoughts or the analysis about this whole subject. So, with the arrest and arraignment of activist Boniface Mwangi, civil society organizations, long regarded as the guardians of justice and democracy in Kenya, now feel the walls are closing in. The democratic space they warn is shrinking fast, with the state not only seeking to silence the voices, but also cripple their finances. So it's not just arrests. They are looking for now the bank accounts. So, beyond their growing concern for the country's deeper, more personal fear is setting in. Human rights defenders are no longer just chroniclers of state repression, but they are also becoming its victims. So it's not just arresting. It's also finding out where your accounts are and doing something to those accounts.
Yeah, I think Boniface actually mentioned that when he came out yesterday, and he said, but from what he'd come to learn or understand after the conversation he had with the officers, is that they had actually tried to access these accounts and they found that there was nothing there. He said, I don't have money. I don't know what it is that they were looking for. But I thought that was interesting, that by the time they're face to face with you, there's a lot of back end activity that has taken place.
You know, when you touch somebody's finances, then after muzzling the voice, then if you target their money, that's it.
It is.
So to another story here that I found interesting. CJ Kome, judiciary is prepared for 2027 election dispute cases.
Oh my God, you're preempting.
Yes. So Chief Justice Martha Koome has said that the judiciary is prepared to adjudicate electoral disputes fairly. Martha Koome stressed that electoral justice is a shared responsibility and that sustained collaboration. Okay, you know how those statements go. But basically, wanasema wako tayari. Now to my last story. Rex Masai inquest.
Yeah.
You want to know what's happening?
Please do tell.
Okay. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Ranson Ngonga, has requested the court for more time.
To do what?
I knew. I saw just the look on your face. I knew. That was my reaction. I saw this. So the DPP is asking for more time to study the arms movement register from Central Police Station for June 18th and 20th, 2024. How many years later?
I have a question.
1 year. Yes.
Please, teacher.
Yes.
You know these things.
Yes.
So when arms move from a controlled space, in this case, controlled space being a police station. The officers who remove these arms, they are assigned them, and there is a register that you essentially mark for arms to leave an armory. Am I right?
So,
do they? Okay, tell us the process.
Yes.
Please. Essentially was my question.
So this is what happens. There is a brief.
Okay.
So the brief, of course, is coming from the OCPD.
Okay.
Or the commanding officer. So this brief is passed down because conversations have already been held.
Yeah.
This is our operation.
This is the activity.
So today, there's a protest. These are the officers who are going to be in charge. These are the officers who are going to be at the station. These are the officers on duty, sentry officers, and all that. Fine. So for the officers going out, you're going out with riot gear. So there are those who are going with the batons, those who are going to go with the guns. So if you're going with a gun has to leave the armory. When a gun leaves the armory, there is a register.
Okay.
That this gun is assigned to these officers.
Okay.
And how the ammunition you're going to carry is also listed in the register.
Okay. How long
So
does it
once you go, how long does it take?
Yeah.
Is during that briefing in the morning.
Like in the morning?
Yeah.
In one morning?
Yeah.
An hour, maybe? Minutes?
It's not even a question of time. It's just the brief, like officer so and so.
Like the way we do in a newsroom. Like the way we do in a newsroom, where you'll be covering the story, you'll be covering the story.
Yes.
This is the person who's anchoring tonight. This is what,
That's the brief.
Ah, okay.
So no police officer leaves a station with a gun that is not assigned.
Okay.
to
And
him.
you sign the thing as you're leaving?
Yes, you sign that you've left with this gun.
Okay.
When you're coming back again, you have to sign in again.
Okay, because you do come back.
And there has to be an account. Okay, so how many bullets did you use? How many tear gas canisters did you use? Because if you don't trail and register all these details, then it will be so easy to go and claim, oh, I fired 52 rounds.
Okay, so...
But you only fired 3. So you have to account for all this.
For all
so
that.
there's a register.
Okay. Now let me ask you another question.
Yes.
When you fire a gun and a bullet is discharged, when you retrieve that bullet, that you can actually trace the gun that it was fired from. Yes?
That's where the ballistics are done.
And it's done.
Yeah.
It's done.
Forensic analysis is easily done.
It's easily done. Okay.
Yep.
So once you get that information, right, you can go back to this register.
Yes.
And you can find out who had this gun and who it was signed out to.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
That's why I was asking how long it takes.
Yeah.
So the people who the weapons were assigned to on that morning, we were not waiting for them to be born, go to school, go to university, whatever, get married, have children, and then come and sign the register. It was not over time. It was literally, that's why I asked you how long it took. It's literally in the morning, and the people who signed out those guns have been born. They've been working in the service, isn't it?
Yep.
They are known to people because they come and they sign. They put their signature behind having received it. Okay, so having put all this information together, then my question becomes, what on earth would the DPP want to study further than picking up a piece of paper and reading that on the 10th or the 22nd of July at 9:15, Ndu took this piece of ammunition and then in the evening at 7:45 returned it? What more would you want to study?
So, in this case, the Rex Masai case, this is a very key piece of evidence. All right? So, what then the DPP is asking, it is to study the arms movement register. So, here's the thing.
Okay.
In studying it, he says, I have just been supplied with the arms movement register from the investigating agency. I need time to peruse and closely study the data contained in the register. So he requested the court to defer proceedings until July 22nd, 2025, when he intends to place the custodian of the arms register in the witness box to clarify how many firearms and rounds of ammunition were issued to police officers assigned to cover the Gen Z anti-government protests. Remember what I just told you?
Yeah.
So there is what is going out, then there is what is coming in. So now, to go through all that data, is to now put the person responsible in the dock and ask now this very deep questions. So the custodian is expected then to shed light on the number and types of weapons and ammunition issued to officers deployed during the June 18th to 20th 2024 protest, which was sparked by the controversial finance bill. So far, both senior and junior police officers who have testified have denied firing live bullets at protesters.
Okay.
So here's the thing. All those officers in that register, when being questioned, they're all saying, Sio Mimi. Sio Mimi. So the register is showing police officer or constable ABC.
And
you are given a firearm.
Not to me.
And they're all saying, no, me, I never shot any live ammunition. No, I didn't.
But which is why I asked the question that the forensics would be able to show. And this is something that, from what we understand, can be retrieved really quickly. So can you say it wasn't me against the register, or are we saying that somebody fiddled with the register?
You know, there's something called stalling. So in this case, the person who has testified so far, the main suspect, Police Constable Isaiah Murangiri, he told the court he was only issued with a tear gas launcher.
Okay.
Sikupatiwa bunduki ya risasi.
Okay.
So that's what he's claiming. So, however, photographs, because you remember the photographs that we all shown, and he was told, turn like this.
Down to the mole on the side of his cheek.
Yeah, and he said, no, that is still not me. So there's photographic evidence, there's video evidence. So photographs displayed during the hearing showed him with an anti-riot gun tucked under his left armpit while observing arrested demonstrators boarding a police Land Cruiser. So Murangiri denied shooting Masai on June 20th. So he's denying, and he's telling the court he was part of the Alpha Min squad deployed to respond to the protest, and that he was dressed in civilian clothes and wore a cap on that day. So he's saying
it's not me.
It's still not me.
Oh wow, that's going to be interesting. So the question then becomes, if this inquest is to go further, they would ask, at what point does what they call plausible deniability come into play here against what the hard evidence is showing you as well?
Yes.
This is interesting. This will be one to watch. I think they go back into sessions today.
Yeah.
There's a mystery. It's taking place and starting to unravel in Ward 7B. Mysterious Kalombotole and the Kenyatta National Hospital horror. Now, in the corridors of Kenyatta National Hospital, where saving lives is a daily ritual, a chilling mystery has been quietly unfolding. More psychological killer than routine clinical affair. At the center of it is a man known only by a name no one can verify, Kennedy Kalombotole. I just want to play the music already. Good grief. He has no known relatives, no confirmed identity, and no documented origin. Yet, over the past 3 years, he has lived within Kenya's largest referral hospital. Admitted, discharged, readmitted, and seemingly tolerated. It's just like the guy everybody knows, this guy is always here.
Oh yeah.
Twice now, within a span of 5 months, 2 patients have been brutally murdered in the same hospital block occupied by Kalombotole. Both victims were found with their throats slit. Both killings occurred in Ward 7B. Kalombotole is the prime suspect in each case. The latest killing took place on the 17th of July. Edward Maingi Ndegwa, a patient in Ward B, Level C, had been visited by a relative around midday. Less than an hour later, a cleaner noticed a pool of blood beneath his bed. His throat had been slashed. Detectives followed a trail of blood from the body to a nearby room where they discovered Kalombotole's blue slippers and a bedsheet, both stained with blood. A knife wrapped in gloves was later found outside the building directly beneath the ward's window. Ndegwa had been admitted to KNH on the 12th of July. He was attacked and killed 5 days later under circumstances police say remain suspicious and unresolved. Now, even as detectives gather a trail of the gruesome murder, nothing seems straightforward when it comes to the suspect, Kalombotole. Despite his lengthy stay, for crying out loud, it's been 3 years, Kalombotole officially remains a ghost. He has no identification documents. Multiple fingerprint scans have yielded nothing in government records, and social media appeals by the hospital to find relatives went unanswered. According to KNH, Kalombotole was first admitted to the intensive care unit in November 2022 before being transferred to a general ward. Now, being a homeless person, according to Chief Executive Officer William Sigilai's statement, with no known relatives, no proven identity, he stayed in at the hospital. In June 2024, the hospital was able to secure a home for him and he was discharged. However, he fell ill again in December and was readmitted to KNH. But the home refused to take him back for unspecified reasons after he was discharged in January this year. You wonder why the home refused to take him back.
Yes.
Thus, a man with no known past continues to live in a public hospital, not because he was sick, but because no one knew what to do with him. Even after the first murder of 40-year-old Gilbert Kinyua killed on the night of February 7th in the Ward 7C, the hospital continued to house Kalombotole. In that case too, a knife was found on the ground below the window of the deceased's ward. He was flagged by the DCI as a person of interest, but months passed, no arraignment, no charges, no progress, just silence, and a man with a shadowy past sharing space with vulnerable patients.
You know this story? Like I told you, this story reads like a crime series. And there's so many questions. I don't even know where to start. There's just so many questions to ask here. But one critical question is, because right now this is going to be legal.
Yes.
Because the family is saying they're actually going to sue KNH. Okay? So the legal implications, here lies the issue of lack of traceability. So if you are unable to trace the identity of this patient, then it complicates any legal proceedings in this matter. Because how then do you account for the patient being in that hospital? How then do you account? Actually, let's take a step back. So when you go to KNH or any other hospital, from my understanding, and I'll stand to be corrected on this, there is what you call patient registration. So patient registration before admission. And I've actually taken a patient to KNH before. And one of the things is, and this was an emergency case, there is the issue of, first of all, get this person somewhere. Then whoever's brought this person, then you have to go back before a lot of things proceed. You have to then admit. Meaning, you have to give in the records of this person. Then there is the initial assessment. Like you go to any normal hospital, so you go to triage. So there's that initial assessment. So there has to be a record of that assessment, either digital or actually a physical copy, a file. Then there is, for this patient, he was there for how many years? 3 years.
In and out, but you know.
So then in this case, there's something else now called continuous assessment records. So for 3 years, what was the assessment of this patient? Then you go to admission. You know, there is the mental health. I was reading somewhere. The reason why this ward is of a concern is because Ward 7B is basically, let me just grab it. This is where you have patients with severe mental illnesses, forensic psychiatric patients under observation. All right? So this patient has been there for
since
on and off since
2022. Yeah.
So what was the assessment of this patient?
Exactly.
And then the other question is, how many patients don't have identification at KNH?
How many people have just been hanging around for years?
So the patient who is on the next bed, do we know, apart from Kalombotole, how many other patients don't actually have identification? Because we may be looking at Kalombotole today. There'll be another Kalombotole next week or next month. So how far back do you then trace? How many patients do we have here? How many records are in our possession?
It's interesting that you bring this up, because if this is a ward that is that then caters to severe mental health issue patients, then there must be certain questions that are being asked. Now, the CEO is also lending some information here where they said they also want to check and see, but there should be a file for him. That what was he admitted for? It says that he came in under the ICU in the first place, but what was he admitted for? You don't just go to Ward 7B for after surgery.
No, I mean Ward 7B is where you have vulnerable patients.
Exactly.
So there are protocols. There's a way to observe the patients who are in that particular ward. So what exactly was that? I mean, there are a lot of things that KNH will need to answer. But then again, given the fact that if you're talking about staffing issues, if you're talking about security and monitoring, CCTV cameras, were they working?
You have to check. All of these questions have to be answered. Another person has died under the same circumstances. We'll have to check and see. It's Good Morning at 7 a.m.
spice up your life.
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Leah Obaga. Uasin Gishu County has declared an outbreak of mpox with residents urged to be vigilant. County Health CC Paul Wangwe has issued a notice to residents stating that the mpox virus can be transmitted from person to person and even from animals to humans. Wangwe has urged residents with symptoms of mpox, which include fever, rashes, headache, swelling, back pain and muscle aches, to seek medical attention. The World Health Organization advises that if you're affected with mpox, you should self-isolate for the entire period of infection until you are completely recovered. The Ministry of Health has announced the revocation of internship placements for 42 Bachelor of Science in Nursing students after uncovering a major breach of national training and regulatory procedures. According to a statement, the affected students drawn from 10 public and private universities were unlawfully submitted for internship placement before completing their academic programs. In a decisive move, the ministry also suspended Dr. Lister Onsongo, the CEO of the Nursing Council of Kenya, pending the outcome of a comprehensive internal audit of all 2,098 nursing interns in the 2025-2026 cohort. Director of Standards and Compliance, Anne Mukuna, has been appointed to oversee the council's operations in the interim. The case involving the disappearance of Nakuru fisherman Brian Odhiambo resumed in a Nakuru court, with a telecommunications expert linking Odhiambo's last known phone location to that of 4 KWS officers who are now suspects in the case. Hassan Salado, a data analyst and the sixth witness in the ongoing trial, told the court that Odhiambo's phone signal was traced to the Kivumbini area of Nakuru East between 10 a.m. and 10:55 a.m. on January 18th, matching the exact location and time frame as the mobile phones belonging to 4 KWS officers charged in connection with the case. Salado revealed that he received 3 call data requests from the Nakuru East Sub-County DCI between January 10th and 21st, focusing on phone records belonging to Odhiambo and KWS Rangers Alexander Lorogoi, Isaac Odhiambo, Michael Wabukala and Evans Kipsang. During cross-examination, defense lawyers challenged the accuracy of the data, pointing out a record showing Odhiambo's phone being in Karunga at 10:06 p.m. the same day. The case continues today. A Kibra court has ordered KNH and Nairobi Women's Hospital to submit medical records for Kennedy Kalombotole, the prime suspect in the brutal murder of 2 patients at KNH. Principal Magistrate Daisy Mutahi issued the directive stating that the records must be presented in court on Thursday this week before a decision is made on whether to grant police an additional 21 days to continue holding the suspect for investigations. Kalombotole is accused of killing 2 fellow patients, including 38-year-old Edward Maingi, who was bedridden at the time after suffering a stroke. A post-mortem conducted at the Kenyatta Funeral Home confirmed that Maingi died from excessive bleeding caused by deep throat cut. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has told off critics opposing the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution's move to charge protesters with acts of terrorism. Murkomen challenged those opposing DPP, DCI and the criminal justice system to define various destructive acts if they are not terrorism. The CS said the acts include invading and burning police stations, stealing guns, destroying police living quarters and assaulting officers, burning courts, administration units, vehicles and private businesses.
I want all the people who are challenging DCI and DPP about why we have charged those people under the Act, Anti-Terrorism Act, to show me if they have read the definition of what is terror and what is terrorism, and then challenge us if that is not the right section too. Kutoka leo, kutoka siku yenye watu walifanya ukora mpaka tumalizane, tutasanya kila mtu mwenye alihusika kuchoma police station, kuchoma kotini, kuchoma administrative units, kuchoma magari, kuchoma masupermarket, kuchoma buildings ya watu na kupiga polisi na kuiba bunduki. We will arrest all of them, including their financials, including their planners, na wote watapelekwa kotini na wao watastakiwa kwa makosa yenye wamefanya.
That's the news wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people, and we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship, and even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Imabo, utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
One of the things that I hate in our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Traffic.
This morning, what does traffic look like as we come off of Outer Ring? Traffic in and outbound is building. Getting towards the Eastern Bypass is going to be interesting. The Eastern Bypass itself is starting to clog up, and as you get towards North Airport Road, it is busy. On Outer Ring, in and outbound, getting through that loop also going to be a bit of a challenge. And as you cross over Manyanja Road through towards Jogo Road, that's busy. Land is not looking too bad, and you get towards Kamkunji without an issue. On the Thika Superhighway, traffic is contained to just around the Allsops Junction. Before that, there's a little bit of traffic as you come in through towards Kasarani, and we're seeing some traffic building up on Kiambu Road. And then also, as you then go west, there is some traffic then Lower Kabete through towards Spring Valley. We're likely to see that pick up as we get into traffic hour. But then on Waiaki Way, it's busy, going all the way through towards Uhuru Highway. So watch out for that. Ngong Road is busy coming in from Naivasha Road, and it looks like it's going to be a busy Tuesday. Nothing too much kicking off of Langata Road, not for now. Let's see what happens as we kick into traffic hour. We'll talk and keep things moving this morning. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
It's 9 minutes after 7
Spice
o'clock this Tuesday, the 22nd of July. So Kenyan had said this morning that I look telegenic, and he said that so photogenic is the TV form, so that photogenic is for photos, telegenic is for TV. Okay, so I
actually saw that, and I wanted to ask, what does that mean?
I have no idea, but you know what? I know what Kenyan's trying to do. So Kenyan, fantastic. Thank you, and thanks for being the star this morning, where we say, you know, everybody who tunes into the show every day to join us in these conversations, we're all together in making sure that it happens. Good morning to you. And even as we do, Dennis, yesterday, I am a good student.
Yes.
You said that for 2,999 shillings, we can get bronze of the Safaricom router.
Yes.
For 15 Mbps.
Yes.
You then said that for 4,199 shillings, we can get the silver package for 30 Mbps. Then you said for around about 6,000 shillings, we can get the gold package for 80 Mbps. See?
You're a good student.
Thank you very much.
You are learning.
Okay.
So we were talking about how it's reliable, and I shared my experience on some episodes that I had when I was trying to do some online tradings, and I kept having setbacks. So when we talk about reliability, now the whole idea of reliability ties in with having a seamless experience, that you're not stressed thinking, okay, what's going to happen? So the idea here is when you use then the Safaricom home Wi-Fi extenders, what then that does, if you're in one room and you want to enjoy watching TV in your bedroom, for example, having that extender then allows you to have people who are watching Netflix or watching anything in the living room, and you are in another room and you're actually watching the same thing at the same time, and you're not experiencing buffering. So it's that seamless experience that ensures that when you have the extenders then in your house, you get very good Wi-Fi coverage. And when you're looking at these extenders, can I tell you how much they're going for?
Go.
3,449 shillings.
Extend Wi-Fi extender into another room. Like
so let's say you're living in a maisonette. So you've got your router in the living room. And because of the corners and the walls and everything, you have an office in your upper floor. So you can easily then just get an extender, and what that extender then will do, if somebody is watching, and when you're watching or streaming something, there is the speeds you're talking about, you want to have that seamless experience. Well, you're upstairs in the office, you can do a webinar, you can also watch TV again, or watch Netflix or YouTube or anything else at the same time without experiencing any difficulties.
That's
it's
great.
Seamless like that.
3,499 bob.
Yes.
Fantastic. That's great, because people have these issues all the time, and so something to look into, isn't it? All right, so that's what you can spend if you're getting into that. Let me tell you guys that oftentimes when you think about growing your wealth, you're not quite sure what to do, where to go, or who to have that conversation with. Well, our good friends at Standard Chartered are telling us something this morning, that you don't have to think or look too far when it comes to protecting and extending that wealth that you do have, and that which then you can take care of. It's the stuff that puts people, it gives people sleepless nights. But here we are saying that this morning you can focus on your foundation, and you can ask yourself, why now? You can talk about comprehensive planning. Let's face it, there's never a better time to take control of your financial future. So when we say that now is your time for wealth, we're not just throwing around, a word. We're not just saying this for saying sake, but we're actually saying that it actually is the time where you can start to look into your wealth. We're talking about looking into a future. We're talking about securing that future. What you need to do is send an email to wealth.ke@sc.com. That's wealth.ke@sc.com. Our guest is in the hot seat this morning. There have been, many an issue throwing around, what is going to happen when it comes to the future of our teachers. He is Secretary General of the Kenyan Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, Kupet. Akelo Misori is here in the hot seat with us this morning. Does anybody ever call you Mwalimu?
I am very excited to be called Mwalimu.
Oh, Mwalimu, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Welcome to the hot seat. It's been a while. We've, of course, seen the happenings that have been happening round and about. So we're going to talk about them today in terms of what then it means is securing our future. But before we do that, Dennis is going to share a proverb. He'll tell you where it's from, and we would like to hear how you would interpret that.
Okay, so Mwalimu, today we are in a West African country. This country is very, very diverse when you talk about culture. I don't know whether you visited that, because I know you're very well traveled. Diverse landscapes, historical significance. It's actually nicknamed the Gateway of Africa. And I'm talking about the Republic of Senegal. You've been there before?
I have been to Senegal.
Oh, you've been there?
Yeah.
What did you love the most?
The coastal region, and the last point where the slaves were leaving to the Americas. That was a serious scenery.
Mwalimu has to go into memory lane, go to history.
Yes.
So you visit a country, you want to understand the history.
Yes.
Love that. So today's proverb is coming from Senegal. And the proverb is, if someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself. if someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself. How would you interpret that proverb?
I think this proverb is linking the experiences people have, that if you stay in comfort because you are not criticized, then you don't even learn about anything. So you must find out why people do not want to even tell you good morning, why you are not called Mwalimu, why you are not called Okari, and so on. The journalist or the presenter. So it is very, very important to be aware of what is around you, what people say about you, or what people expect you to do. So sometimes when, like now, if people do not tell me that I have put on a Modi attire, then I know they don't appreciate it also. Or they hate it, but they don't want to tell me that they don't like it. So that is the thing.
Interesting. Yeah. Self-awareness and curiosity.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
What a way to look into it. So, coming in, of course, from the latest information, TSC Coupet seal the CBA deal as a lower job group teachers score big in pay boost. Just looking into the details of what has happened, and then you'll take us to the point where, before this, getting us here and what it actually means. The Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers has signed a new collective bargaining agreement with the Teacher Service Commission, bringing to an end intense negotiations that have centered around salary disparities and long-standing grievances by teachers in lower job groups. So negotiations between the TSC and the Kenya Teachers, the Kenya National Union of Teachers are still ongoing, with expectations that a final deal will soon be reached. Now, this signing ceremony took place Tuesday at the Kenya Institute of Special Education and was witnessed by the TSC acting CEO Evelyn Mitei. So you said that, and you described this just concluded process as intense and full of complexities. You said, and I quote you, "This process, which has just been completed, was so intense, with many intricacies involving engagement and compromise. The offer from TSC did not exactly go as we expected." But you're seeing that at least the award was favored to a large extent the ordinary teacher, the ones who carry the burden of daily work in schools. In the 2026-2021 CBA, schools heads benefited most. This time, it's about fairness. These were words that you spoke just a few days ago. And we're looking at quite a lot in terms of now what will be done for the teacher. Is this acceptable? Is this deal finally what teachers have been looking for and the unions have been searching for?
Actually, when unions engage the employer in negotiations of salary or awards for this matter, the issue is basically to get maximum. But our work as union is based on the principle of hunting. You go hunting and you don't just despise whatever you have gotten. So as much as we appreciated the offer which was given to us and the amount which was awarded, it did not even meet a third of our expectations. Okay. Because among the issues that we had put on the line was to address the issue of housing of teachers and the commute allowance and other allowances related to scholarship, because we are now working in an environment, and the Teacher Service Commission, for the years that we have, it has been in existence, has never put in place even money for scholarship. So we had expected that the Teacher Service Commission would recognize those people who have paid for their own upgrading, to have gotten degrees, they have gotten masters, they have gotten PhD and so on. Because currently, universities do not employ directly those people who have masters or PhD. But we have got quite a number of teachers, including even in primary schools, who now possess PhD qualifications. So we expected the Teacher Service Commission to give at least 40% of the basic pay across board of all grades, so for those people who have acquired better grades and so on. That one was one. Secondly, we also were looking at the commute allowance, for example, which allowance was put in place from 2014. And it has been stagnating there. But in 2014, for example, the price of petrol per litre was basically 78. Currently, it is 188 plus.
Okay.
It oscillates between 177 to 190 something. In fact, there's a time it was even 200. So teachers bear the brunt. And in fact, when you look at the cities which cannot accommodate teachers in schools, for example, Nairobi city, teachers cannot stay in the neighborhoods like the ones we have in Upper Hill. Like Kenya, if you are a teacher at Kenya High, you are compelled, if you don't get accommodation in the school, to go and look for accommodation where you can use 14,000 shillings or 15,000 shillings to pay rent. And remember, that is a very humble house for a teacher. A teacher requires to live in some element of comfort where she or he can plan well for to go and attend to learners. So to reduce that kind of stress, the Teacher Service Commission did not address it. That's why I indicated in my comment about it that it was full of intrigues and so on. And one of the things which was also an anomaly, countdown towards this process, was the fact that there was no budgetary allocation which was in the current budget being discussed. There is now budget allocation for the award, and therefore that's the reason for which we are to pick whatever we got, because we also saw, we have been interrogating this budget, and we realized that unless something mysterious happened, which in this case they said they are going to subject it to supplementary budget. So that's when teachers can be given even the offer which we had. But one thing which is very, very encouraging is the fact that from the 2016-2021 CPA, the Teacher Service Commission gave an offer which we thought was very attractive, because it identified that the managers of schools were not properly paid. For example, a teacher is running a school and collects about 7 million, but this teacher does not earn something. So there was...
What do you mean does not earn something?
does not earn something commensurate with the kind of task the person supervises, the amount that he or she handles in the school. Then there was also the tendency to scavenge on the same resources which are supposed to do other work. So the Teacher Service Commission really recognized this, and they were given substantive appointment, which therefore made them to have some element of motivation to work, because there was no threat that they would be deployed as ordinary teachers anymore. If you were found not to be culpable, now you could just go. But otherwise, it will only give progression that you can only from grade D1 to D3, D4, D5. So that one was very encouraging. But the ordinary teacher did not get much in that arrangement. So the salary differentials also was so huge. And that's why I commented about fairness. Because this time around, when you look at the lowest paid teacher, for example, in high school, teachers were starting at 35,900. Now, but the highest paid teacher was being paid 150,000.
And that is net or gross?
Yeah.
That is net or gross?
This one was the gross, for example, the gross. No, not the gross, but this is the basic pay. The basic pay, that's what the baseline. But the other allowances will make it more. But look at the basic pay. If a teacher, the lowest paid teacher in high school was earning 35,900, and the highest was paying 150,000. So the salary difference here was about 75%. So that one is not correct according to internationally recognized best practice. That they are supposed to, if they are working in the same environment, then the one which is allowed is supposed to be a difference of 25%. But in our case, it has been such big. So that's why we said in my comment, that
it was bringing about equity and fairness in the distribution.
And is this pay affected by the area of posting?
No,
it doesn't.
It doesn't. Basic pay is uniform across board. So what differs is basically those who teach in ASAL areas, which are classified as hardship, are being given 30% of the basic pay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the top-up allowance
that
they get.
Allowance, yeah.
As like hardship allowance?
Hardship allowance.
Okay.
Yes.
Just like in any deal, I'm just curious to find out, this deal, there are compromises whenever deals are made. In this case, were there any compromises made by Kupet or TSC during the negotiations that might then have long-term consequences? Let's say a year, 2 years from now, again, we are back to the drawing board.
One thing which has been the practice is that once we don't get whatever we expected, then the struggle continues. So you expect that it is not going to be rosy, sitting pretty, that things are okay. Because we still have the same challenges. Like, for example, counties currently are the same all over. And now, if I was talking about housing in Nairobi, I did not talk about housing in Kajiado, Machakos, and even Kiambu. In fact, in those neighboring counties around Nairobi, housing is even more complex because there are no even slums. For example, there are no slums in Kiambu, there are no slums in Kajiado. So the houses there for teachers are even very competitive. So you would expect those people to continue agitating to get better houses. To be motivated to work in this station. Yes.
So in one school, this amount that you talk about, 35,900, is the lowest cadre here. And is this money coming in from the new deal, or is this what was before?
No, the one I've used here was the previous one. The current one, if once the ones we signed for a period of 4 years, it will move to 35 to around 41,000. 41,000, that is what will be the basic.
This is basic
entry point for somebody who is earning 35,900 now. Yeah.
Now, this deal marked 33.8 billion shillings. That's the new deal. And this is money that is going to be raised and applied over the next 4 years. This is not just one time and it goes to everybody, but over 4 years, this money will be realized. Where does the bulk of this money go under this new deal? I know you had mentioned that some of that, but according to stories that we are seeing, that it is welcomed because what it does is that it goes into the payment of teachers' salaries.
No, this money basically goes to the basic pay. Basic pay for the teacher. It does not touch on allowances. Yes.
It goes to basic pay.
Yeah.
Now, in the last increment for teachers, it was a non-monetary increment. There were issues around, let's ensure that things like paternity leave for teachers came into play, that there was an increase on maternity leave in terms of time, and that there would be payment for things like training, enhanced training. That was in the last CBA. And teachers said, okay, we've been patient, we've understood that we were just coming out of COVID, so the country was taking a bit of a shake at the time. So teachers understood and we said, okay, we will not be disingenuous, we will wait and see how things will happen. So now with this, there's a little bit more that has been applied. Now, this TSC does not work in isolation, doesn't work in a silo. It then works with the Ministry of Education, of course, in connection with Treasury. Do you think that you talk about that only 1/3 of the needs, and these are not even demands from what you say, that only 1/3 has been met by this new CBA, because now we're talking 2025 to 2029, right? Or 2030? This CBA now that has been signed?
2025, 2029.
Yeah. And only 1/3 has been met. Do you think that because look at that connection, TSC, unions, Ministry of Education, Treasury. Is there enough to meet the needs? Is it a resource issue or is it a reluctance issue?
It is basically a resource and the country not identifying with the teachers in these circumstances. Remember, just recently, the doctors, for example, only interns were given whatever they wanted. Interns, not even professional doctors. Those who have just finished college, they were given whatever they are required, 201,000 shillings as their practice allowance. So these ones are there, but you are the ones who are preparing the same students to go and undertake medicine.
Yeah.
I think. So we are not living also in isolation. As much as TSC is part of what the Ministry of Education and even Ministry of Health and so on are undergoing, we as teachers also live in the same neighborhood with the doctors, with any other persons, and our children go to the same schools. We suffer more when it comes to even treatment. Our medical scheme is not a very robust one, and therefore we have to contend with raising money to assist besides the medical insurance that we have. So these are things which are there. What we expect is a rationale where there is a recognition of the work that the teachers do, and this work is the one which we want to be paid well. We also wish to have teachers motivated to undertake the very hard task of working for the nation, just like any other person. So those are the benchmarks. Okay. But as I said earlier, we cannot leave whatever we have been given, even if it is small. In fact, having a standoff in a pay dispute is not one of the best, because it leads to industrial action. To avert industrial action, we take, and then even as we have signed for 4 years, we will remind them next year that whatever you gave us cannot sustain us. Because they also say that for us to compromise, that sometimes they tell us that whatever you are demanding is not sustainable. But we are also going to tell them in the next round of discussions, not even negotiations now for pay, that we are not comfortable with whatever we are earning now. We need more.
Speaking of what a teacher earns now, I remember when I was still in school, and I have teachers who are my friends, and the conversations around career progression. So you'll find if you have this teacher who's now moving from 35,900 to 41,000, and they want career progression. They go for either doing further studies or doing other courses to just enrich themselves and grow. What is the conversation around the CPG? And in this next round of conversation, that's the first question. The next question is, in this next round of conversation, what are the items that have been carried forward?
Thanks. Especially on career progression discussion, what we carried forward was basically to have it reviewed by June 30th, 2026. From now to June 30th, 2026, because in our engagement and in our memorandum of demands, we had wanted it to be scrapped. But if it went that our way, it meant that we were going to revert. We did not have an alternative. We were going to revert to the old scheme of service, which classified teachers to enter as either non-graduate teachers, technical teachers, and graduate teachers. So that one was making that kind of classification. But the one we adopted in 2016 was career progression. It is the one which also gave room for principals of schools and heads of schools to be appointed substantively without being subjected to what we call deployment. So in the circumstance now of career progression, we are also demanding that certain things come with it. That when a teacher undertakes his personal development to take course in education or education-related courses, upon completion, this teacher should be given a reward, either being given 3 credit incrementals or being recognized and given special duty allowance.
Okay.
Because this person now has enhanced the capacity.
Okay.
That is the best practice which happens even in other departments. But the Teacher Service Commission, as I told you earlier, has been sitting in comfort that since its formation, it has never veiled scholarship for its employees. And yet, the backbone of the employees that the Teacher Service Commission employ is basically supposed to deliver knowledge.
To deliver knowledge.
And to sharpen the skills of the learners.
Okay.
So that one requires that their investment ought also to go there. In fact, the Ministry of Education has scholarships, but the Teacher Service Commission does not have. Yet this is the person who is supposed to employ
the teachers themselves.
And remunerate the teachers.
Let's take a break at this point and then we'll come back, because then we want to see then also the CBA, when does it kick in, or are folks expected that at the end of this July that there will be something different on their payslip? We'll come back and continue with that conversation in just a bit. The Secretary General of the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers is Okoh Misori. He's here with us this morning. 33.8 billion shillings signed in a CBA. But what does it actually mean? We'll come back and discuss right after this. And when I remind you that the Aga Khan University Hospital is who they say they are, you can get treatment. Doesn't matter where you are along the Thika Superhighway. And you should not actually Google your symptoms. You can find a healthcare provider near you. The Aga Khan University Hospital has brought specialized world-class care to your neighborhood. The conveniently located clinics offer specialist clinics, diagnostics, and pharmacy services, ensuring you and your family receive the best. From cardiologists to pediatricians, gynecologists to gastroenterologists, neurologists, and pulmonologists, other consultants near you. For families along Thika Road, we've got you covered at the Akai Medical Center, at the Roy Sambu Jewel Complex building, at the Roy Medical Center, and the Juja Medical Center, as well as the Thika Medical Center, with the Keno Medical Center also at Kilele Mall. Visit any Aga Khan University Hospital Medical Center in your hood today, or call 0730-011-888. That's 0730-011-888. The Aga Khan University Hospital, world-class care here and now.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Can you grow your wealth anywhere? Anytime, without the right partner? Imagine expanding your portfolio with investment opportunities globally, while protecting your wealth and legacy. Standard Chartered's unique global network and deep local insights give you unparalleled expertise anywhere, right now. Now's your time for wealth. Join Priority Banking today.
This month on Star Times, love burns, romance gets hotter, secrets run deeper, and the drama never lets up. Loyalty is tested in a war for power on Gangs of Manila on Novella E. Gigi seeks vengeance at any cost in beautiful revenge. Witness the timeless love of Rama and Sita in Ramayan on Novella E+. Honor meets heartbreak in the Chinese drama Feud on ST Kung Fu. Two sisters, one destiny. Together, they are unstoppable in Divya Drishti on Rembo TV+. Renew your subscription for 2 months on your current bouquet and get a free upgrade to the next bouquet for 2 months. Dial *858# for self-service or call 0730-710077 for customer care. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 SpiceFM, Nairobi.
At 21 minutes to 8 o'clock, the Secretary General of the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers is Okoh Misori. He's here with us in the studio. 33.8 billion shillings. When we see the number, we're all staggered and we say, wow, this is amazing. From the last CBA, which expires, and getting into a new one, where there's been a lot of push and pull and friction between teachers and the TSC and the unions back and forth. We hear that number and it's amazing to hear. How many teachers are there in Kenya today?
Currently, the number of teachers we have is about 410,000.
410,000 teachers.
Yes.
And we're looking at the increment across board for basic pay. Will it affect every one of these 410,000 teachers?
Yes, the the award will affect all the 410,000 teachers. In fact, about 8.4 billion will be paid every financial year to make the whole payment be met by to reach 33,800.
Okay. There are always misconceptions, though, around teachers who teach in private institutions and teachers who teach in public institutions. Does this apply across board? And must you be a TSC teacher to then be considered in all of this? These are questions that are coming through.
The teachers currently who are engaged by Teacher Service Commission will be affected by this kind of pay. But the Teacher Service Commission or the government that cannot insist that all the employers pay the kind of pay that Teacher Service Commission pay. This pay is dependent on the agreement with the contract they have with the workers. But currently, unless somebody is accredited from outside Kenya, you must be a registered teacher to practice in Kenya, whether you are in private or in public.
What's coming clear, Mwalimu, is that we don't have a full understanding of how teachers are engaged in Kenya. So maybe you can do that for us to be clear. There's a Teacher Service Commission, which is the HR function for teachers. But does it encompass all teachers in the country? If I am teaching at a school, we've heard that there's a TSC number that you have. We also hear that there are BOM teachers. How does this work exactly? It gives us a further understanding as to how awards such as this then are given.
Currently, the law gives Teacher Service Commission to register
TSC registered
teachers.
Yes.
So all teachers practicing in Kenya must be registered by the Teacher Service Commission. That is what I've said earlier, that unless you are accredited because you are teaching in an international school, and therefore the Kenya government recognizes that the kind of qualification you have from elsewhere mandates you to teach here, that one is fine. But all teachers teaching in Kenya must be registered by Teacher Service Commission.
And what happens
that
if they're
registration is one, the Teacher Service Commission must have it in its file, and then secondly, the Teacher Service Commission will pay those teachers in the teachings or with the public schools.
So if I am a TSC accredited teacher and this school, School X down the road, I can be seconded to this school by the TSC. The TSC is the hiring entity.
If that school is a public school, then the Teacher Service Commission must be the one hiring you to teach in
and sends me to
school.
go and teach French, for example, down the road. But I haven't. And I haven't here.
But the Teacher Service Commission cannot insist that it cannot second you to a private school.
It must be a public school.
Yeah, it must be a public school.
All right.
What they insist they have is that the person who is engaged by the private entity is also registered by the Teacher Service Commission.
And yet, Mwalimu, we have schools in this country being taught, learners are being taught in schools with teachers who are not TSC accredited.
I think that is now outside the law, and therefore that is a criminal enterprise which should be investigated and the teacher and action taken. Because according to the law, the schools in Kenya must have teachers who are registered by Teacher Service Commission.
There's a school in Western Kenya. It made it into the newspaper yesterday. This school, within the knowledge of the county director of education, just within Bungoma County, hires its Form 4 leavers, and I don't even know if it's hires because they volunteer. And for the last 3 years, they finish Form 4, and they are the ones who have been teaching in this school. The County Director of Education is very aware and says that since this school is just coming up, that there are teachers maybe from the nearby school who can hold them up. But the truth of the matter is that there are Form 4 leavers who are teaching history, they're teaching science, they're teaching math.
These are 25-year-olds.
25-year-olds.
Yeah.
And even younger. 25-year-olds and younger who are teaching in this school. It is known. The County Director of Education, you've heard me now insist for the third time that she's aware in that area, that she's aware that this is going on, and has even given words about how they should carry on until they get round to it. So I've painted that picture, and here we are talking about an award for teachers who have to be TSC accredited in order to operate in Kenya. These are two existing scenarios in this same pot that we are discussing about this morning.
I think if there is any illegality, that one should be dealt with by the authorities concerned with dealing with this. But let me just say that we cannot say that a teacher who is 25 cannot teach. Because with me, I started teaching when I was 19.
But you just told us that they must be accredited.
No, I'm just talking about this.
Yeah.
That was the law then.
Sure.
Because teachers were being engaged as untrained teachers, even from my school. Like I started teaching even before I received my certificate, because that one was allowed that time.
Okay.
And later when I got my certificate, I was posted to school by Teacher Service Commission.
Okay.
And I taught for about 3 years before I went to college.
But Malebo, these are not trained teachers.
But
these are 25-year-olds who just...
I was not trained then.
Okay.
And therefore we have had untrained teachers before. But currently, what obtains is that teachers teaching in our schools must be registered and by Teacher Service Commission. And that is what you said earlier, that they must have TSC numbers. Like you talk about me, my TSC number is 208588. So that is, currently they have gone to 105,
yes.
Like that. It is very long now, because there are so many teachers. I told you we have got about 410,000 teachers in the Teacher Service Commission register and engaged by government to teach in public schools. So if there is a public school, in this country, we have had so many shortcuts based on, one, politics influences what takes place around. When a community starts a school, for example, a primary school has begun this year in 2025, and they have said their learners must go to their school. They can do all things. And therefore, if you are a county director of education, you may do very little. You only write a report that this school is there, but you cannot arrest the chairman, board of management of that school, because that is not within your mandate. So the law enforcement of this condition which is there to govern the schools lacks enforcement. We require that people understand, and politics is kept out of school, such that county director of Bungoma, for example, is given opportunity to run education in that region professionally. In the event that one does not happen, that one is now not the weakness of Teacher Service Commission, but it is the weakness of the entire system, which has allowed, because if you insist that school to not have those teachers, then they would say, where will we pay? Because Teacher Service Commission has also not sent enough teachers. Like, for example, we are talking about junior school in many instances. So you find a junior school where the teachers who have been posted to go and teach are 4, but all of them are teaching humanities and languages. There's nobody who can teach mathematics, can teach the sciences and so on, or even French, because a foreign language should also be part of it. So you'll find that the community or the board of management will accept to engage other people informally. This is outside the law. But you can see, if they are not got, or if you don't get the report, you will know that this school is having sufficient number of teachers. But you realize that nearly half of them do not even merit being there. I am aware of such kind of arrangement, because even while I was actively involved in the class, we used to have student teachers who have just completed school. There's one who came and joined us and is currently a medical doctor. He taught for a year with us. This one was basically an ex-Form 4 who was so good, but we lacked a number of teachers. But that time, the law about that you must
the law allowed it.
The law allowed that you can engage and train teacher.
Okay.
But currently, that engagement is, in fact, even if you are a graduate, for example, and you are not registered as a teacher, you are not trained as a teacher, you are not allowed to go to class. I hope you saw one time when one of the members of parliament was organizing teaching in online. And I think it's a member of parliament in this region. He was teaching online, and he was told that if he doesn't stop, he will be arrested because he was not a registered teacher to offer instruction to children in Kenya. So those are the things which happen. But the outside here, like for example, when you say that a policeman has misused a gun, that is also how things happen in certain neighborhoods.
Malemo, let's go back to the money conversation. So, are there plans then to harmonize allowances? Because earlier you talked about the hardship allowance. There's housing, which remains unchanged, and it's a major point of dissatisfaction among many teachers. And this ties into a question somebody has asked. There are integrated schools, but teachers there don't get any allowance. What do you have to say about that?
I think unless there's a specific school, I don't think that statement may be correct. Because teachers who are teaching in schools which have admitted special needs learners, those schools are, those teachers are paid. If they are trained special needs education teachers, they are paid accordingly by the Teacher Service Commission. And if they have not been failed, then they should give us that kind of evidence to agitate and maybe to insist that they get their correct pay. But for those who are teaching in schools and which are integrated and allowances are not paid, I think that one must be addressed. Yeah,
I just want to make a clarification here because there might be an understanding. So TSC has teachers. Are we saying that TSC will only second teachers to public schools? But that doesn't mean that teachers who are in private schools are not TSC accredited? Or are we saying that teachers who work in private schools don't have TSC numbers? What's the case here?
The law of the land says all teachers teaching in Kenya, whether public or private, must be registered teachers.
Okay.
Register. The authority which has been granted this portfolio is the Teacher Service Commission.
Yes.
So, Teacher Service Commission register them. That one does not mean they second them.
Okay.
Because if they are seconded, then it means that they are employees of Teacher Service Commission, but they are just doing services in a private entity. Yeah.
Okay.
It used to happen in the past, but currently, no.
Okay.
The private institutions have their own teachers. What the common denominator here is that they are registered by Teacher Service Commission, but the employer is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we come back to the award, or rather the CBA agreement that comes with this monetary amounts, and I know that it was heavily monetary because previously you said, like we said before, that we established, we're agreeing to take non-monetary compensation, but this was heavily monetary. There are a number of intern teachers still. What happens to their employment or their establishment as now fully fledged teachers in this current dispensation? Does the CBA take that into consideration, or are we right now focusing on those who are fully employed teachers and their benefits? I'm not sure what the number of intern teachers is now. Maybe you can also shed some light onto that.
Actually, let me just respond to the last question. I am not aware of the number of teachers who are outside there who have not been engaged. That one I may find out from the register of teachers, from the Teacher Service Commission. That is the number. So I don't know that. But I want to talk about the engagement. Remember last year when we were in industrial action, it was basically to ensure that those teachers who are working as interns were engaged permanently. In fact, that is the reason for which our strike was prolonged.
Yes.
It was basically, we were saying that these are professional teachers, and therefore the term intern is an abuse to the entire process. And now, one thing which we were convinced to accept this anomaly is that while these teachers were not engaged by the Teacher Service Commission or by government, despite the fact that they have been trained and they have taken a lot of resources to be prepared to be teachers, some entities engaging them were paying them as little as maybe 10,000. A graduate teacher being paid as little as 10,000 by a board of management of a school. And therefore, when they were being paid 20,000 by the government, we were convinced that if the period can be shortened, then it is fine. But what I must appreciate, which something which is there, that this current administration has done better than any other administration when it comes to engagement of teachers, because they said upon their election that they will employ 116,000 teachers, the deficit which was there. Already they have employed 76,000 as we talk. That is a very good move in the right direction. They have employed them on permanent and pensionable terms. In fact, as we talk, there are also another 20,000 who are serving as interns. And we know these ones will be transformed to permanent and pensionable by the end of the year.
Okay.
And with a promise that another 20,000 is also being employed.
And this came under this current CBA now that
this was pushed under this current CBA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the intern teachers, the thousands that you speak of, will be at place where now they will be PNP by the end of 2025.
They will be by the end of 2025.
Okay.
Yes, and another 20,000 will be injected into the service as intern teachers.
Okay.
So this is a progressive way of mopping out those teachers who have been trained but have not been engaged by government. Yes.
How do you see this will affect teaching across board? One of the things that you talked about previously during the industrial action was the demotivation of teachers. And there was a confusion between, moving from junior school to, senior school and all of that. And that teachers felt demotivated over time. Do you see that this is now at least a step up in the ladder that will allow that demotivation to then become motivation?
To some extent, it will motivate the learners. It reached a time when now even the learners we teach, when they are selected to join, even the ones who have been selected are at their own selection, because they apply to join at their own application. Now say that they don't want to become teachers. And if you don't have teachers in a country like Kenya, then the society is not there. Because it is from those young teachers where we will get innovation. They will excite the new generation of learners and so on. So this one is going to be definitely a motivation. There's some comment I want to give here, and which is very sad. That even when we don't engage the teachers immediately come out of college, they take time outside. They work in quarries, they work in mijengos, they also work as tea pickers and even sugarcane cutters. When they are finally engaged, they are no longer teachers. That is the sad story about it. And therefore, the government must have a deliberate plan to engage teachers who have been trained. Because if they stay longer outside, they acquire certain vices which are not good for teaching, for example.
I hear you.
Yeah. So that's the sad story. And therefore, I am very glad that the model that the government chose, which we really fought against, this engaging of intern, is not a very bad idea. If it can generate the process of mopping out all those who have been trained to belong to the fold of teaching, it would be a perfect way of motivating teachers, and even those people who are aspiring to be teachers, to take teaching a career
in the future. It's a good step in the right direction. Let's see how things go over time. The Secretary General of the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers is Akelomo Masori. He's been our guest this hour. Thank you so much for being here, and until we talk again, asante.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Conversations continue. It's 8 a.m.
Good morning. This is the News Wire. I'm La Ubaga. President William Ruto has donated 1 million Kenya shillings to the family of the late comedian Zakaria Kariuki, popularly known as Mr. KK Nyamweya. The president was represented by the head of Presidential Special Projects and Creative Economy, Dennis Itumbi, at a candle lighting event held in honor of the comedian. After announcing the president's donation, Itumbi requested to take the amount to the late comedian mother, and he'll actually be doing that today. KK Nyamweya died while receiving treatment at Kiambu Level 5 Hospital and will be buried tomorrow at his Lari Gathoroini home in Kiambu County. Health CCs from all 47 counties have called on the Council of Governors to urge the national government to scrap the current system of using one-time password, that is OTP, to verify patients seeking SHA insurance coverage. Instead, they're proposing that fingerprints be used to streamline service delivery. Machakos County Health Minister Justus Kasivu says many patients have been delayed in receiving treatment due to SHA OTP errors.
Tumepata malalamiko kidogo, na ni kweli kuna changamoto wakati tunaenda kwa mahospitali yetu ya SHA. Ya kwanza, mara unapata systems za SHA ziko chini na inachukua muda wakati watu wanahudumiwa, na hiyo tumeongea na magavana wetu through COG, na najua anazungumza na ministry na SHA ndio maneno ya system iweze kurekebishwa. Ile jambo lingine ni vile watu wanaambiwa wakienda kutibiwa wao wamelipa 100% of the premiums. Hiyo nayo imekuwa pia ni changamoto, manake unapata mtu kulipa miezi yote 12 pia ni changamoto, na tunauliza ya kwamba kama hiyo inaweza punguzwa, angalau mtu awe amelipa kama miezi 2 ama amelipa per quarter, alafu akienda kwa hospitali anaweza kuhudumiwa.
Kibwezi West MP Mwengi Mutuse has announced that he'll introduce a bill in Parliament that will see parents who don't pay fee balances for Form 4 leavers after KCSE prosecuted. Speaking at Kalulini Boys High School, Mutuse said that students shouldn't have to worry about their Form 4 certificate because their parents simply failed to clear fee balances.
Hakuna mtoto analipanga fees inalipwa na mzazi. So burden ya fees si ya mtoto. So ukidetain certificate ya mtoto, you are actually detaining the future of our country. Wewe pambana na mzazi. Mzazi ndio alileta mtoto hana hatia. Tutaongelea mkuu mnaweka kwa Credit Reference Bureau hapo kwa Fuliza ikuwa hezi, so upambane na mzazi. Sio kama, I don't know whether you understand where I'm going with it. So mtoto akimaliza shule, mtoto apewa certificate aende akaanzishe maisha yake, lakini tuachwe na mzazi sababu deni si ya mtoto, deni ni ya mzazi. Mnanielewa ama mnielewi?
This is despite the Ministry of Education advising school heads not to deny the students their certificates, but instead engage with their parents on how to clear the balances. And finally, the UK, and that is in the internationals, in the UK and 27 other countries have called for an immediate end to the war in Gaza, where they say the suffering of civilians has reached new depths. Joint statement says Israel's aid delivery model is dangerous and condemns what it calls hospitals, the drip feeding of aid, and the inhumane killing of civilians seeking food and water. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry said more than 100 Palestinians were killed by Israeli fire while waiting for food over the weekend, and that 19 others died as a result of malnutrition. Israel's foreign ministry rejected the country's statement, saying it was disconnected from reality and sends the wrong message to Hamas. That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people, and we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing policy of conmanship, and even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Imabo, utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
One of the things that I hate in our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Traffic. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4.
7 minutes after 8 o'clock, and this is the Situation Room. It is Kenya's biggest conversation. This Tuesday, getting into things that we must have conversations around after you tell us how life is going to be made just a little bit easier once we connect.
Oh, yes. And, earlier on I told you how you can get those extenders and enjoy a seamless experience when you're surfing the net, watching videos, you're doing your webinars and all that. Now, we go to the second part, which is even more interesting. Feeling good to be safe at home.
Okay.
So it's all about safety. And when you talk about safety, Safaricom Home Smart Cameras are basically going to do that. How is this going to happen? You experience your peace of mind monitoring your home when you are in and when you are away. So, case in point, you're right here in studio. So you want to find out what's happening with your kids in the house.
Yes.
You can simply just go to your smartphone and just watch what is happening at home. We know a lot of people who have, babies and, you have nanny cams in the house and there's reliability issues with those nanny cams. Now, in this case, what Safaricom then is doing is giving you those smart cameras so that you can have them installed in your house. This will be not just for babies or for nanny cams kind of concept, but just purely security. So you want to see who's at your gate, you want to see what's happening inside your house. And how are you going to do this? It's very simple. All you have to do is to get that smart camera, go to masoko.com. So when you go to masoko.com, they are available. And the starting price is 6,000.
Okay.
And you get a smart camera, courtesy of Safaricom.
There's so many things that come along with this bundle. This is great.
Not yet. Next time I'm going to tell you something else.
Even more?
Yes.
It can only get better.
Yes.
And so can it be when you also think about securing your wealth. And our good friends at Standard Chartered say, let's face it, there's never a better time to come to control of your financial future. So when we say now is the time for wealth, we're not just throwing around a tagline. We're talking about being deliberate with your money, your goals, and your legacy. Standard Chartered Priority Banking offers a comprehensive approach to managing our finances, meeting both your current lifestyle needs with your future aspirations. So whether you're thinking about starting a portfolio or streamlining your assets, the advice is personalized, strategic, and tailored to where you are in life. And I get it. When you've worked so hard to build something, trust and security become everything. You want a partner who's not just competent, but consistent. Someone who protects what matters and helps you grow it. That's what you get with Standard Chartered, a solid, trusted partner who understands wealth isn't just about money. It's about the people, values, and futures behind it. So today, email wealth.ke@sc.com to begin your journey, because your time is now. And now is the time to talk about a different kind of energy. And we're going to do that this morning.
Oh, yes.
The Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum is Opio Wandai, and he's here with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Undu.
Yes.
And Dennis.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you.
I told you look young in person.
I'm happy to hear that.
I'm seeing you for the first time, though.
Dennis is trying to tell you that whatever you're doing it right.
I've refused to age.
You refused to age?
Totally.
Okay.
No, life is good.
I can't say so.
The last time you were in this seat, you were the Member of Parliament for Ugunja constituency. And things have changed significantly since then. And we're having conversations around then what responsibility lies on your shoulders to deliver in your docket, but at the same time to deliver for government. So thank you for being here this morning. We would like to hear your interpretation of a proverb that Dennis is going to tell you the country that it's from and what you think about it. We'll put you to work this morning.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, interpretation
Yes.
of a proverb.
Yes.
Wow.
Very, very simple. I mean, you're interpreting a lot of things every day in your office. You're looking at reports, you have to make your own conclusions, interpretations, have your opinion, right? So I'll go straight to it. So we are in the Republic of Senegal. You've been to Senegal?
No.
Okay. So Senegal is in West Africa. It's known for a lot of things, culture, landscapes, and it's actually proud of 7 UNESCO heritage sites.
Okay.
And this proverb is very simple. If someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself. If someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself.
If someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself.
Yes. How do you interpret that proverb?
It would basically mean that you need to be alert all the time. And to go an extra mile in terms of establishing the facts, and not to be over reliant on people's goodwill. Really,
you can find it out.
Sounds political, though.
I don't know what is not political in this world. Everything seems to revolve around politics.
In one way or another, that's for sure.
Correct.
Even in docket where you sit. So thank you for that interpretation. So the docket where you sit is a powerful one. Whether you want to look at it in terms of politics or whether you want to look at it in terms of actual power that's running through the wires to either light up or power up the nation. And let's start off with whether you were ready for the responsibility that this docket requires. Oziri?
First and foremost, it's important to say that it was indeed a great honor, it still is, to have been appointed to the executive, specifically to the cabinet. You know, the cabinet of the Republic of Kenya, under the Constitution 2010, has got only 22 people. So it's a great honor to be among the 22. Okay? That is one. Two, as to whether I was prepared, the jury is out there. First and foremost, you must understand that I was in parliament for some time.
Yes, you were.
Yeah. Having been elected 3 consecutive times. It's no mean feat, Dennis. Okay. 3 consecutive times. And not just a member of parliament. I did my second term chaired a very, very critical committee, National Assembly, the Public Accounts Committee.
Yes.
It's the committee that examines the Auditor General's report on the expenditures by ministries, state departments, commissions, and state and independent offices. That, of course, gives you a good view of how government works, especially in terms of accountability. Okay? That committee deals with accounting officers. All accounting officers, without an exception. It invites them and interrogates them on the reports of the Auditor General. So I chaired it for 5 good years. That should tell you something about my preparedness to serve in the executive. But more importantly, again, in my 3rd term, which was cut short upon my appointment to the executive, I was the leader of the minority coalition in the National Assembly. Yes, leading the Azimio troops in those heady days, leading leaders who have been elected, some senior to me by terms of age, experience, some more educated than I am, okay, and so on and so forth. So in a nutshell, therefore, I don't think I could have been any better prepared than I was.
Okay.
Upon my appointment to the executive. Of course, when it comes to the docket that I currently hold, must appreciate that it is the prerogative of His Excellency the President to appoint and or assign cabinet secretaries to dockets. Yeah.
Were you assigned because of the position that you held in the opposition, or were you assigned because there was a true feeling that you could actually do something within this docket towards the betterment of governance and development?
You know, honestly, I can't answer that question. It's the appointing authority
who is
the best place to say for sure why I was earmarked for this docket. Yeah.
You mean to say you've not thought about why me and why not? You say 22. So it's a privilege to be among the 22. Why not one of your colleagues?
No, you must remember again that I and a few of my colleagues joined the executive midstream, if I may call it so. Be specific, in July last year, 24th, we're actually almost marking our first year anniversary. Our first anniversary on 24th. This is this week actually. Yeah, appointed on 24th of July last year, the cabinet. When there was a major, of course, reshuffle. Okay? You must also note that we came from the Azimio or ODM party. And therefore, our appointment was obviously sanctioned by the party leader of ODM, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Of course, he consulted with His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Yes.
You know, CS, it's interesting watching you and your choice of words because you are a very fiery debater in Parliament. And this, you know where I'm going with this. And before we had last year's protest, I watched you several times and you are a very, very strong critic of the government, including the President Ruto. But your choice of words then were not what you're using today. You've called him doctor, you're calling him His Excellency, and of course, he's the president. But having made that shift then, I watch you nowadays, and it's a contrast because you are now one of his biggest defenders. How I can't reconcile my thoughts around that. You before joining government and you after government. And I was dying to ask this question. What happens to you when you make that switch. And not just to you yourself, even your other colleagues within the ODM party. There is Mbadi, who's now also a very, very big defender. There is Joho, also another very, very big defender. But if you look at the contrast of before and after, what happens in between there?
Then is if you are keen enough and you look at my politics over the time when I was in parliament specifically, and their records, you can get them from the archives from parliament library, and you can play video clips of my speeches in parliament, both in committee and the Maina on the floor of the house. You may want to say that I was a fiery debater or critic, but you will notice one thing in my speeches, that I was never personal. Mm-hmm. Yes. I have never been, even at the most critical times, at the most tense moments. I've always maintained issues. I've always stuck to issues, and this has really been helpful in terms of being able to engage with people of different political persuasions and ideologies from time to time. So it's always important to stick to issues, even when you are criticizing an opponent or somebody on the opposite side. Criticize them on the basis of issues, okay, not personal. And my record is very clear. Even in public rallies, you can play those video clips, okay.
You were centered on the issue.
Yes, I would point out what I perceived as the failings of the administration, and which was my duty, really, in fact, as leader of the minority, and indeed as a member of parliament sitting on the minority side. Okay, I was playing my rightful role as a legislator, and therefore, in my view, there's no major shift. The fact is that now I sit in the executive as a member of the cabinet, bound by the principle of collective responsibility, first and foremost, but more importantly, owing allegiance to the appointing authority, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya. I had a choice. When I was approached to be appointed to the executive, I had a choice to accept or not to accept. But the moment I accepted, then I have to be bound by the first and foremost collective responsibility principle, but also out of decency and good manners and good order, I must support the president and his administration to the best of my ability, which I'm doing, by the way,
And which you called punitive. in your fiery statements.
Well, you see again, Dennis. That was then. If I did not do it, if I did not call it out, who would have done it? Yes, I was playing my duty.
Okay.
My other friends like to call it something else, not really something I want to say here. Yes.
So some of those issues that you raised when you were a member of parliament, leader of the minority, are some of the issues under the docket that you now are the chief accountability officer for as being a cabinet secretary, and that is, of course, the politics of it. Just like you said by your own admission at the very beginning, that there's nothing today that we deal that doesn't include or invite politics into it. The business of power and energy in Kenya today is a hot one, no pun intended, but it is. That, number one, when we look at the reach of power to every corner of the country, I believe just the other day, the president, to whom you've clearly said that you bear allegiance to as an appointing authority, said that every corner of the country will be reached with development. Under one of the development agenda is power. Give us your outlook, overview of where we are currently, in light of the fact that many today don't know what it's like to turn on a switch in their homes.
And that's exactly why I think I'm here. to make Kenyans understand what we are doing. You know, I've made a conscious decision as the head of my ministry, which I've repeatedly said is very critical, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. I have made a conscious decision to divide my time between sitting in the office and being out there in the field. Dennis and Undu, I just came back from Kitui County last evening. Actually, yesterday I was in both Kitui County and Tharaka Nithi County, traversing the constituencies of Tharaka and Mwingi North, launching rural electrification projects in the villages, right inside the villages. In fact, one thing stuck out, that whenever I stopped, in those very many stops I made yesterday, there are about 5 stops in different places in those expansive areas. Whenever I stopped, one common comment was that was the first time they are seeing a cabinet secretary. That was the first time a cabinet secretary was stepping on their land. And that tells you, of course, that I was able to go to very remote places. So I have chosen to do this so that I can lead from the front in terms of extending electricity to those who need it most.
At those stops, did you also notice whether people had been powered?
The very reason why I was making those stops is because those people are not to be powered.
Yes.
Okay? Our first and foremost responsibility as a ministry is to ensure that we promote access to, of course, clean, renewable, sustainable energy services at affordable or competitive costs. We know as a country that we have got a very, very ambitious target to achieve universal access to electricity by the year 2030. That is within our Vision 2030, if you get time to read it.
Yes.
Okay? We may, on paper, be hovering around 75% accessibility. I want to say so because that is theoretical. And why is it theoretical? Is that it basically depicts the mean average. But if you go out there, as they say, kwa ground between different. Why different? There are some areas in this country with access rates as low as 5% or less. Okay? Of course, there are others with about 98 or so percent access rate. So it's my duty and that of my team at the ministry to ensure that we bridge this gap, this huge gap, by making deliberate efforts to extend electricity to the countryside, to the remotest places possible. Statistics that we have indicate that in the last 2 years or so, especially upon President Ruto assuming office, we have connected additional 1,100,000 or so customers.
In how long?
About 2 years or so.
Okay.
2.5 years, thereabout.
And this is countrywide?
Countrywide.
Okay.
As we speak now, in the books of Kenya Power, there are about 10 million and something customers. About 10 million, thereabout. This tells you, of course, that if we maintain this tempo, then in the next 2 years, by the time we are going to the next elections in August 2027, inshallah, we shall be having an additional about 1 million or so. In fact, could go to 1.5 million. Okay, because you have actually accelerated the tempo.
1.5 million more?
More. Yeah, which means Kenya Power books might read about 11.5 to 12 million customers. But remember, these are customers. When you connect what we are referring to as a customer, okay? In some cases, we refer to it as a household, okay? When you talk about domestic connections, you are talking about an average of 5-6 beneficiaries. If you look at the average size of our households in this country, especially in the rural areas or peri-urban areas, okay? So 1 million customers could translate to about 6 million or so beneficiaries, benefiting directly from energy access. You will notice, Ndu, if you go out there the way I do often, they glow in the faces of school-going children. And many times they come out to receive us. Yeah. In fact, many times I try to avoid going near schools because we may disrupt learning in those schools. They come out to interact with us when we go out there to launch these programs. And when they imagine that they will be having electricity in their schools or in their homes, they don't believe it. Yes, that they are able then to compete effectively with the children who are in more advantaged locations, like Nairobi and other urban areas. Okay? You know, these kids, both in junior, or let me call it, in junior primary or junior secondary, or in all these schools, these comprehensive schools.
Yeah.
These kids sit same exams nationally, I'm sure you know. Yeah.
This is interesting because just a couple of weeks ago, in one of the papers, there's a picture of a young boy and he's seated in the field next to his home. This was in Nairobi. In a neighborhood in Nairobi. And he's using the floodlight from the nearby area to read. I'm sure you saw that picture. Yes. This is in Nairobi. And why?
I'm not sure it was Nairobi.
This is in Kenya. Let's say Kenya. This is in Kenya, where a young boy is trying to read for these exams that you mentioned, and he's using the floodlight from a nearby street that casts the light on his books for him to read at night before he goes back to bed. It seems to be a different picture from the one that you paint.
It can't be different. It's essentially the picture I'm painting. That those kids are yearning for opportunity to access light, electricity. Okay? That the mere fact that they are able to access some street light out there. The boy was going to read under a lampshade in the street because they have got no electricity in their house.
In their home, exactly.
Yes, correct. Okay? So what would happen if you gave them electricity in their house?
He wouldn't be in the street.
He won't be in the street.
But this is a current issue. And so the question is, in terms of time and implementation, where are we seeing and how fast this journey is going?
I have said that we have a target to achieve universal access to electricity by the year 2030. Yes. And we are steadily moving there. In fact, if there is one thing that this administration has done with tremendous impact, is the expansion of rural electrification. No doubt. Go anywhere in this country, you will come to that conclusion.
Okay.
We need to actually applaud the administration of President Ruto. It has gone out of its way to extend electricity to people who are for long underserved. There are people in this country, there are regions in this country who couldn't have even imagined that in their lifetime they would access electricity. So this government is going out to do it in an equitable manner, and that's the defining terminology.
Okay, so yes, let's go with your numbers in terms of connectivity. So these places, marginalized, especially that have been off-grid now, coming to the national grid. So you're talking about connectivity. Let's talk about cost. Because when you look at the costs, Kenya is among the countries that pay more to stay connected to electricity compared to other nations. Why so? I don't have the correct figures. The last time I checked, we were looking at a comparison among the African countries, and you're looking at what we get from outside the country to supplement what we are generating from within the country. And there were conversations about why then do we still talk about these high costs when we still have geothermal and we have other renewable energy sources. So let's talk about cost. Why is power in Kenya very expensive?
Let me start by saying that, Dennis, cost is a relative term. Okay? It depends on what angle you're looking at it from.
From a consumer level?
Yes, I know. From a consumer level. And it depends, again, is which parameters you are comparing it. Okay? But I'm not running away from the fact that our power costs can come lower or should come lower. Okay? That, in my view, is work in progress. And I've said from my opening remarks that our mandate is to promote access to renewable, clean, sustainable energy services at competitive cost. We shall not have achieved our objectives. We shall not have delivered on our mandate fully if we just supplied power or electricity without looking at the cost. Okay? So we are very conscious of that fact. But let me say this. Cost is a function of many factors, chief of which, of course, is the taxes and levies. Okay? That Parliament, in its wisdom, of course, imposes from time to time. I'm saying that because I have been a parliamentarian before. And I know that these levies and taxes cannot be effected without parliamentary approval. So that is one factor. But there's another factor, again. The other factor is what I would call as commercial and technical losses. Okay? We are hovering at around 24% of these two types of losses combined. That means, in simple layman terms, Dennis, that if you generate 100 megawatts of electricity, okay, by the time it gets to the consumer, what passes through the consumer or customer meter box is 76 megawatts. In other words, 24 megawatts is lost along the way.
To what?
Through transmission and distribution. Okay? I'm coming to that.
Okay.
So technical losses would come from our infrastructure for transmission and distribution. The more as infrastructure for distribution and transmission is less robust, the more these technical losses. Okay? And that's why, as a ministry, indeed as a government under His Excellency the President, we have moved very fast to put emphasis on modernization of our transmission and distribution infrastructure. Yes. For a long time, there has been less than optimal investment in the maintenance and development of our infrastructure for distribution and transmission. So we are working on that front.
But yet these connections to get to 1 million, 1.5,
yes,
is then based on this same infrastructure.
Correct. And
so is that then not counterproductive? Because if then you are still spreading these connections and you're creating all these networks to make sure that everyone then is part of this national grid based on this infrastructure, then is that...
Okay, let me explain to you.
Yes.
You know, our projected increase in demand for electricity, again, because of factors of population growth, industrialization, and so on and so forth, okay, would mean two things. One, we must up our generation capacity, okay? Generation capacity. From whatever sources, geothermal, hydro, solar, wind, and now nuclear, Dennis, in Siaya. Very soon, we'll be hearing about nuclear power coming from Siaya.
Okay.
As we enhance our generation capacity to be able to cope with the increasing demand for electricity, we must, in the same vein, improve, upgrade, or otherwise modernize our transmission and distribution infrastructure. Because once you generate power from whatever source, you must evacuate it to the end user. This is of no use producing power in Sondumiriu, in Kiambere Dam, from wherever, and then you can't evacuate it. The only way to evacuate it is through transmission lines and distribution lines. Okay? So if there's a mismatch between the two, then you're not achieving the overall objective. And that's what I'm saying. The government of President Ruto has made deliberate efforts to ensure that we deal with both the matter of generation capacity enhancement and improvement on the quality and stability of our infrastructure for distribution and transmission.
So, Waziri, there are two organizations which are responsible for that. Kenya Power works on, and then helps with this power to actually reach people. REREC also, that works hand in hand with Kenya Power, does their job. They get rural electrification, the program, trying to get power to the end. But everybody seems to be stuck on one thing at one time or the other. You talk about distribution. The managing director of Kenya Power sat in that same seat and said,
yes,
and talked about this distribution issue and talked about transmission lines and how power is lost along the way.
Correct.
Because you have to use so many lines to get power,
correct,
for example, to Muhoroni, when your substation is in a different part of the country, like Kibos, and you're moving power from one place to the other. So the question then becomes, if we lament on the same issue over and over again, when do we get to the point whereby we say, actually, you know what, this has been sorted, and we don't have to do so much to get power from one place to another? Because the problem is that to get this power to Muhoroni, you find yourself going round, am I right? Round so many channels to get power to go to this point. And so why do we use such a roundabout means in order for that to happen?
Actually, I'm happy to learn that the Kenya Power MD was here. And that's exactly what I've been saying. That you need improvement in the infrastructure for transmission and distribution. And you put it very well. You cannot move electricity such a long distance, okay, using low voltage lines. Okay, you need to upgrade the lines to be high voltage. All these are capital investments that, of course, require money, but I'll come to that later. So the roles of these entities, and there's no lamentation. This basically putting it as it is, and there's no time we shall say that now we are there. No more need for further improvements. These improvements will be necessary until the end of the world. Okay. Because the new demands will come with new challenges and so on and so forth. Kenya Power, of course, is the off-taker of all energy,
yes,
that is produced or generated. Okay? And it's the interface with the customers. It's the entity that eventually bills the customers.
Yes, distributes it. Yeah.
I, you, and you. Okay? Kenya Power. It also, of course, runs and maintains certain distribution lines. Okay? REREC is basically our social responsibility arm of this sector. REREC basically does what I went to do yesterday in
Kitui.
In Kitui and Tharaka-Nithi, extending power to places that sometimes would have been commercially unviable to do so. Okay? So we ride on the REREC to do that, because Kenya Power would not do it, because Kenya Power is a commercial entity. Okay? It's profit motivated. Okay? Because it has got a duty to its shareholders. Yes. Who could be you or I. Okay? Now, KETRACO's role is purely to deal with transmission lines, construction and maintenance. Now, those high voltage lines.
Yes.
Okay? It's a very, very clear distribution of roles. What happened some time back is the unbundling of these roles within the sector. And it has worked very well, because everybody now focuses on their role. But I need to say something, Dennis. So apart from the technical losses, which we are now working towards reducing, all these improvements we are putting in place in terms of enhancing our infrastructure capacity will go a long way in reducing the technical losses.
How long will it take, you think?
Well, we have got a master plan. Yes, as I said earlier on, we have got a master plan actually for KETRACO, Kenya Power and REREC. Yes, and they're in phases. There's short, medium, and long-term plans. Okay, as I've said, this will be continuous forever. But we are going to be able to get some optimal level. Okay, in our view, in the next 3 to 4 years, optimal level. Okay, meaning that if we can reduce the technical and commercial losses from the current 24% to, say, 10%. Then we would have actually made very, very remarkable progress. But I need to say something. Apart from these technical and commercial losses, the commercial losses sometimes come about as a result of what has become to be referred to as illegal connections. I know it's a very unpopular terminology, illegal connections. This is very rampant, especially in built-up neighborhoods.
Yes.
Okay? I'm choosing my words very, very carefully. Okay? In neighborhoods with high population intensity. And we have had the challenge controlling this menace because of issues to do with security and so on and so forth. But we are coming up with a solution. Yes. What we are calling bulk metering. In those neighborhoods, in those estates, where ordinarily it will be difficult for Kenya Power personnel to access every household, okay, we are coming up with a strategy to do what we call bulk metering, whereas the populations agree on one person or entity to be the point of contact with Kenya Power. Therefore, Kenya Power builds that person or entity, and then that entity supplies power to the households, and then collects revenues. So it has worked in many other countries, and something we are very, very focused on implementing. It will go a long way in, first and foremost, ensuring uninterrupted supply of electricity to those areas by reducing matters of disconnections here and there, but more importantly, creating an environment of safety, because these illegal connections are very unsafe. Okay? Yes, very, very unsafe. Many times we have got fire incidents happening as a result of illegal connections. Okay? But ultimately, of course, it will enable Kenya Power to be able to recoup its investments by way of billing. Yes.
I know we want to go into also a petroleum conversation because it's necessary for us to do. But just looking at still, when we look at the provision of power, that independent power producers have been in the center of the storm when it comes to just how much power is produced for the country to use, as well as the contracts. I believe the number of years that we're looking at now is 25. That no matter what you use, or no matter what is provided, even if it's not used. Remember, we talked about the issue of transmission lines either not being maintained or new ones not being created. But Kenya puts itself in a position whereby it signed contracts with IPPs to provide power, and whether or not you use it, you have to pay for it. And unfortunately, what this does is that it gets to the end user whose power bills are higher, who, when something needs to be restored, it takes time to be able to do that. When would they get out of these contracts with IPPs and see that the power producers in the country can actually produce what they're supposed to, and that it be that the uptake then translates to what you spend, as opposed to having to spend more for power that you've not utilized?
From where I sit, first and foremost, I don't think IPPs is a bad idea. Because strategically, you need to diversify the sources of power to the national grid for strategic reasons. Yes, over-reliance on one source could be catastrophic. For instance, if you said, let's rely on geothermal or hydro,
can't do it.
It can't work. It's not strategic at all. Okay, without going into details. But again, what you are referring to with regard to the IPPs is a legacy problem. Yeah, it's a legacy problem that we are dealing with. We have had lessons from these old IPPs. We have learned our lessons, and going forward, and these IPPs are not all of them are fixed terms. They are going to expire. Their terms are going to expire as we move along. Okay, they expire as we move along. We have agreed, in fact, even with Parliament, the Energy Committee of both National Assembly and Senate, that we are going to review our approach to entering into new PPAs. You know, for IPPs to be able to supply power to the national grid, they must sign PPAs. I'm sure you understand what PPAs mean, Dennis. PPAs are the power purchase agreements. Okay? The IPPs are the independent power producers. So IPPs cannot operate without PPAs. Now, PPAs are signed between the IPPs and Kenya Power. We are looking at that space, that landscape, so that with the benefit of the learnings we have attained in the past, going forward, we enter into PPAs that are more flexible, okay? More flexible and more sensitive to public needs. And there are so many arguments, by the way. If you open that debate here, it won't even end. If you brought the IPPs here, one of them.
I actually want to talk about one, because this particular one.
Please.
This particular one
yes.
Then brought out the issue of secrecy when it comes to these deals, the procurement, and the secrecy in procurement concern Kenyans, because in the contracts that are being awarded, one, without either open tendering. Number two, the red flags around transparency and value for money, especially for consumers. And in this case, I'm actually referring directly to the Adani Kenya Power Transmission deal. The scope and the value that then Kenyans are going to get, and became a huge storm. Why are they done in secrecy?
You know, the thing is now we are mixing issues deliberately, so I believe, you know.
I want us to have that conversation.
I want to deal with the issue of transmission, the issue of generation.
Yes.
Where the IPPs
we'll talk
are.
about transmission later.
Slightly later.
Okay.
So these IPPs, those have the arguments. That was my point. That you see the kind of investment they put in place, okay, are such that if you don't take their power, then they run at a loss, you know. And therefore, there is that element of take or pay, okay? That component. There's a way they argue, okay? Which sometimes makes sense, but again, we have said that we need to interrogate this. That's what we are doing. But going forward, we need to be very sensitive to the public needs and balance. Strike a very delicate balance between the investors' prospects and public needs.
But it should be the public need that is front and center in this, isn't it? Because we from the very beginning of this conversation, we started out when we say we're going to power up Kenya, and that is the role of government, that to make sure that those needs are met. But it's not just having the power and the lights on, but it's actually at a cost that is affordable to be met by Kenyans. So even when we talk about these IPPs and PPAs, Waziri, the benefits of the consumer, how far is that considered in terms of costs?
Exactly. And I've said that we must strike a delicate balance between serving public need and also ensuring that these IPPs remain in business. Because if they don't remain in business, it means they can't generate the power to supply to the national grid.
Which the country needs.
Yes. So there's a delicate balance which the ministry can do or should or is doing. Okay? Because otherwise, left to their own devices, we'll have no order. Okay? That's why we have to come in to protect public interest as well as ensure that these IPPs remain in business. Because we need them to be in business for us to be guaranteed of steady supply of power. Adani was a different issue because Adani was coming in to help us in constructing transmission lines, some 4 or so transmission lines and substations. Okay? Under PPA, under PPP, public-private partnership arrangement. You know, in this country, we have got a law governing PPPs. Many people don't understand this. There is a PPP Act of Parliament, which was passed by the National Assembly in the year 2021. That is the piece of legislation that guides and or governs all matters PPPs. And that law gives a wide range of options or approaches for conceiving and implementing PPPs. So Adani was coming in through one of those avenues as provided by the law. Okay? Okay? What we call the privately initiated proposal. And we have had very many other entities, corporates, companies, organizations, presenting us with privately initiated proposals of various kinds, covering various infrastructure projects. It's only unfortunate that as we speak, none is yet to see the light of the day insofar as the transmission line development is concerned. But that does not mean that we are going to abandon PPPs anytime soon. In my view, in fact, it is the position of the ministry that PPPs is the way to go.
It is the way to go, but see, yes, the issue the issue with PPPs is the secrecy that shrouds some of these deals, and sometimes these things are not very much in the open. For example, the Adani one was a 30-year contract. When you look at procurement concerns in this case, was there an open bidding, or did then this deal bypass the competitive bidding? Was it single-sourced? And so there are legal implications to this. Well, there was public backlash around it because people wanted to know, what are we getting ourselves into? Is the cost of power? Because the end consumer, all they care about is how much am I going to pay them per unit and for how long? So when we get then into these deals that are not very much then in the open, it leaves people to question a lot.
You know, and that's exactly what I said from the beginning, that not many Kenyans may understand what legal framework governs these PPPs. That's the starting point. And perhaps, therefore, maybe we could have done better communication for Kenyans to walk along with us, along the journey. Okay? Because there is a tendency in this country, what Americans would refer to as McCarthyism, you know. You give a dog a bad name, and then you hang it. This has a potential of killing potentially very, very useful and beneficial projects, if you aren't careful. if you're not careful. Because the name Adani had been bastardized. So anything to do with Adani is bad.
Because of the secrecy, CS. And I think that's what Dennis is saying here.
Yes.
Because that came out and the way in which it was communicated, which by your own admission may have had a flaw, is that they looked as though there was something to hide and that there was someone who was benefiting from this and not to the benefit of Kenyans. You must admit.
And the perception of secrecy is emanating partly out of lack of understanding of the legal framework that is in place.
Now, is it lack of understanding of these legal frameworks you're saying from Kenyans and consumers, or is it then lack of information and how it was communicated? Because you earlier said that,
and I've said that. Yes.
It's an issue of communication.
It's a combination of factors. Yes.
So, do you still believe the Adani deal was a good deal, only that it was communicated poorly?
I don't want to make that blanket judgment that it was communicated poorly. I'm saying we from the benefit of hindsight.
Okay.
With the benefit of hindsight, perhaps we would have communicated better from the outset. Okay? That is one. Okay? But two, which is equally important, is that the manner of procurement of the Adani project, if I may call it so, was perfectly legal. Because it is provided for under the PPP Act of 2021. Okay? So that's an area perhaps we need to engage in the public more. But since then, I'm also happy to report.
Or completely, not even more. CS.
Since then, Since then, I'm happy to report that we have also progressed some other PPP project in the transmission space that is to be undertaken by a consortium of Africa 50. Okay? Okay? It's the tail end of implementation in terms of contract signing. Africa 50 is going to do some 2 lines, Lesos, Lesuk, and Kibos, Kakamega, Musaga lines. Okay? Similarly, in the same manner that Adani would have done those other 4 lines and the substations. Okay? But with this one, I'm sure you have noted that we have had much more robust public engagement, going by the learnings we had from the Adani debacle. Okay? And we are hopeful that this is going to be the first PPP of its kind. Not only in Kenya, I think in the entire Africa. Okay? In the energy transmission space. So, it is continuous learning. But the point is that Kenyans must come to understand that as things are, we must embrace PPP. But of course, I'm also agreeing with you that the PPPs must be managed properly.
In a transparent manner.
And in a transparent manner. And that is what the government is set out to do. In a transparent manner that satisfies the needs and anxieties of the common mwananchi.
I know we're going to have maybe a few more minutes in this conversation, but it's necessary for us to talk about petroleum because time does fly when you're having fun, isn't it? Yes. But we saw in the last month that IPRA, another organization that works under the auspices that then brings in the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, is that they told us that fuel prices then were going to go up. Kerosene, diesel, petrol went up by 7, 8, 9 shillings respectively. And we also know that by the time we are seeing this increase, it's not the fuel that has come in. This is what has come in previously, and then makes a reflection in that current month. And I can see you have your IPRA documentation there. But here we are looking at a case where global prices affect what happens in the country. However, the landed cost of fuel compared to the fuel that comes at your pump is increased significantly because of local taxes. No matter what happens on the global scale, the fuel that you then take your car to the petrol station or that you buy your kerosene or whatever it is that you do has been affected significantly by taxes in country. Why are they so high?
A good question but perhaps to a wrong person. Because as I've said before, at the beginning of our debate here this morning, taxes and levies of whatever kind are only imposed or implemented with parliamentary approval.
But what then would be counterintuitive, would be counterproductive to what the ministry wants to do.
That is one. Two, I have looked at the price movements of petroleum products, specifically for petrol, diesel, and kerosene, from July last year to now July this year. Okay? What might interest you, by the way, very quickly, is that in July last year, when I took over this ministry, the price of petrol was 188.84 per litre in Nairobi. The latest prices that have been announced make the price of petrol to be 186.3 per litre in Nairobi. 188.84, now 186.3. Diesel, very quickly, was 171.6 in July last year. It is now 171.59. More or less no change. Yes. Kerosene was 161.75 per litre in July last year. It is now 156.13 per litre. Now, that's not the point. The point is that these new prices are as a result of what you are referring to as a steep hike. Okay? Which is indeed true. The hike was steep. Okay? But you must understand again that from last year, July, to now, along the way, there have been steady price decreases. Steady. If I had time, I would just take you through the statistics. For all these three types of petroleum products, steady price decreases. It only went up this month, but even as it went up steeply, to borrow your word, Sundu,
yes,
they haven't reached the level they were in July last year. That's a very interesting observation. Okay? And I appreciate this. As consumers, you are more sensitive to price increase, isn't you?
Of course.
Yes. Any price decrease doesn't really interest you.
Especially knowing that the price of fuel affects everything else that you're going to do.
Correct. But I just want us to understand that the government has never slept on the job. We are alive to our responsibility of ensuring that we provide affordable or more competitive prices for fuel. Now, you have said that part of the contribution to these prices is the taxes and levies.
A major part.
You are right. You are right.
Yeah.
But there are also other components, other factors. Of course, one is landed cost. Okay? One is the landed cost, which, of course, government has no control over. There is the matter of margins, which go to the players in the value chain. There's the matter of storage and distribution costs, where we play a very key role because our storage and distribution agency is Kenya Pipeline Company, which is owned 100% by the government of Kenya. And we have used that space to actually really mitigate these costs by creating more and more efficiencies in the distribution and storage sector. We have been able to manage these costs in a very big way, and the public might not know. Okay? So therefore, what am I saying? What I'm saying is that whereas there are other factors, there are factors that we may not control, especially the matter of the global factors that determine the landed cost. Okay? And we take cue from the S&P Global Plat as the benchmark, yes, for these prices. We are not lost on the fact that we can still do more, and we are doing that more in terms of addressing these other factors that could be under our control. For instance, this issue of the road maintenance fuel levy is the most famous one. Okay? That people keep talking about and politicians keep misrepresenting. That road maintenance levy is a levy that even though we collect as a sector, is administered by our sister Ministry of Roads and Transport. Okay? But it does a very vital role, which I don't want to really belabor. I don't want to belabor. Okay? And that's just one example of the levies. So when you say, for instance, therefore, that our levies and taxes are too much, let's reduce them. Are we offering an alternative to addressing the issues that these levies are addressing?
Are these levies for revenue collection? Because there was an argument here. Why slap 16% VAT? What value are we adding on top of the landing cost? And when it lands, there's nothing you're doing.
You're not doing anything.
It lands as it is. It's transported as it is. We're not doing anything. So the VAT, 16%, is from government. So there is what then Parliament will approve, but why then add these other extra taxes and levies when you can do away with them?
Dennis, I agree with you. This is a debate that is very healthy, very, very healthy indeed. And if we approach it from an open mind, we could actually get somewhere. Okay? Because the matter of taxes and levies is a matter of determining what taxes, what services do you need to offer to the people.
Because we have excess duty, we have petroleum development levy, PDL, we have petroleum regulatory levy, we have railway development
there
levy,
are many,
we have merchant shipping levy, we have road maintenance levy. I can go on and on.
You can go on and on, yes. But I'm telling you, Dennis, that this is a debate that is very healthy. Okay? And if we just approached it in the manner I've suggested, with open minds, okay, we could get somewhere. There could be a meeting of minds. Okay? Because the government, as usual, must do a balancing act. Okay? And people keep on asking many times, why is it that petrol is in Kenya is more expensive than Rwanda or Tanzania or Uganda? All those are independent jurisdictions with their needs
and their tax regimes.
And their approaches to dealing with their needs.
But ours is punitive.
Okay? Again, punitive is a relative term.
So why do you use CS when you're in Parliament? You say the tax regime in this country is very punitive to Kenyans. When you're in Parliament, now you're CS, do you still believe this is still punitive?
No, what I believe in is that there's always room for improvement.
When do we improve?
There's always room for improvement, and this is why we have a continuous conversation. From here, by the way, I'm going to Parliament.
Okay.
Yes. From here, I'm heading straight to the National Assembly's Committee on Energy to address same issues. That tells you, of course, that entities or institutions that are responsible are not sleeping.
Okay.
Yes, they're working on these issues. Yeah, they're doing something. So I don't think we should lose hope.
Okay.
And it's at that point maybe we release you to go to Parliament. But
thank you
some of these issues definitely necessary that we looked into. Thank you for being here this morning. Opiyo Wandai is the Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. We've been looking at some of these issues necessary for us to look into. We invite you again to come and give us, an outlook in terms of how things have changed in very short period. And so thank you for coming here and honouring our invitation this morning. It is 11 minutes past 9 o'clock. Good morning. Conversations continue after this.
Done?
And I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people. And we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing policy of conmanship. And even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Imabo, utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
when you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human, everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, staki kuongea today. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
One of the things that I hate in our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can't run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Waliletea fujo Moi mpaka wakapata cooperation, wakakuja wakasumbua Kibaki mpaka wakachukua nusu mkate, wamekuja wakazungusha Uhuru hapo mpaka wakaenda na handshake, program yetu ikapotea, BBI ikaendelea, tukazama, tukaingia kwa madeni. Sasa mimi nimewaambia hii serikali hii, mimi nawaambia hii serikali ni ya mahasla. Hakuna nusu mkate, hakuna handshake, hakuna hiyo borojo.
Jana nimeona wale wazee tulishinda. Ati hiyo mzee akisema ati he will not be coerced or intimidated to joining our government. Wewe mzee sikia. We have no business within our government. Hatuna haja na hatugojei wewe. We are not looking for you and we have no time. Stop saying that people can force you to come to this government. Forget about being forced or coerced. We are not interested because sisi tuko na kazi ya kufanya.
Kama kuna mtu ako na namba ya William Ruto, arekodi hii video mtumie. Maisha yangu tangu nizaliwe sijawahi kuona mtu muongo, mfisadi, baradhuli, dhabdhabina kama William Samuel Ruto. Mimi Hassan Joho nikitaka kuongea, mimi I don't even dream of engaging with them. Ati huyu akitaka aje aongee sio na mimi niongee na Ruto nini? Mimi nikamtafute atanipa nini? Wilbaro. I wonder. Nilipeleka Wilbaro mimi la kimtaani la kucheza nalo zamani.
We have a choice to reject over 60% of these names or give President Ruto his skunk. Apart from a few individuals who are not even more than 8, the rest are incompetent, unqualified, have integrity issues, are people who cannot deliver this country from where it is to the next level that we want the country to move in.
A few moments later.
Now forwarded the name of John Mbadi Ngongo to the Ministry of National Treasury and Economic Planning. The Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
It is 17 minutes after 9 o'clock and getting into the morning where, Dennis, you said there's something else that we are going to be able to benefit from. Yes?
You know, when you talk about customer service, so you're making all these purchases, you've bought your camera, you have your home fiber, everything is set, you've bought your extenders. Sometimes you may want to, I want to figure out how then do I renew if you've skipped a month or you haven't paid, how do I renew my subscription? Or if there is any issue, where do I go to? You need to change your password because you feel maybe there's somebody who's intruded and they're using your Wi-Fi. You know how when you live in a neighborhood, you'll hear stories, there's a neighbor who constantly uses your Wi-Fi. So you're checking the uploads and the downloads and you're thinking, it's time for me to change my password. So how do I go about that? If you want to maybe make some payment, you want to check your balance, and a lot of times you feel like you need to make a call, you need to talk to somebody. Well, you don't need to do all that. With the Safaricom app, it's self-service. All you need to do is just go to the Safaricom app for Safaricom Home Fiber, and you can do all these changes. Change your password, subscription, make payments and all that. It's so fast and so easy. So you don't need to call 400. You just go to the app and just do it yourself at your convenience. And it's very, very fast.
There you go. You've given me very many gems today, and I'm very glad. So we can do that. And so today you said, number one, we can buy...
Number one, you can get an extender.
An extender.
For 3,449.
Anywhere.
Yes.
And then, number two...
You want the camera in your house for security, because we all want to feel secure. You want to see what's happening in your house. And it doesn't matter how many you want to have. You want to put one outside. You want to see what's happening outside the gate, who's knocking.
Up to you.
You can still do that. And they're available. And they start from 6,000 Kenya shillings.
There you go. And then I can change my password.
Then you can change your password. You can, upgrade your subscriptions, whatever it is that you want to do. Just go to the Safaricom app and Safaricom Home Fiber. It's self-service. You don't need to make any calls to anyone.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. And even after that, we can focus on wealth protection just a little bit. You know what keeps a lot of people up at night? The idea that everything that they've built could be lost. And that's what they think about. It's possible that it could be lost, and you don't want to be in that situation. So either this could be lost through poor advice or market downturns. That's why wealth preservation and risk management are key pillars at Standard Chartered Priority Banking. Their expert teams don't just guide you, they protect your assets from market fluctuations, economic shocks, and unexpected risks. Add to that their specialist investment advice and portfolio management, and you've got a recipe for building sustainable long-term wealth. And for those overwhelmed by endless options from real estate to international investments, you can get expert help to optimize decision making. So it's not just about growing wealth, it's about growing wisely and with clarity. Your path to smart, protected, and informed wealth starts with one email: wealth.ke@sc.com. This, not later, is your time. We're getting into a conversation this hour that is the third part of conversations that we've been having over the last couple of weeks when it comes to protecting innocence. And girls, boys, children in school, unfortunately, are the prey for many a predator. And as we get into that conversation today, Davis Okombo is here. He's a children rights activist, and he joins us in the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning. Davis, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Not an easy conversation to have, but a necessary one to do, and we're going to do that this morning. Before we do, Dennis is going to welcome you with today's proverb. We would like to hear your interpretation of it.
Thank you.
I'm sure this is the moment you've been waiting for. Okay, so this is an easy one. So we are in West Africa, the Republic of Senegal. And there's a proverb from Senegal that goes, if someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Dennis. First and foremost, it's a pleasure and privilege to appear on this show. And my interpretation of this proverb is linked to the topic of this discussion today on child abuse and protection. And my understanding is that child abuse is so secretive. There is a lot of conspiracy of silence, and many people do not want to talk about it, and children are intimidated into silence. And therefore, in the context of this proverb, we need to be so inquisitive and try to check on the red flags and get the facts and really go deeply into the issues so that we can be able to protect the child.
Well, generally staying alert and being alert about your environment.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. I mean, yeah, being alert and staying alert about your environment, having a conversation yesterday, and now we get to the point whereby the slightest activity, where historically, with experience, it would be innocent. A teacher helping a student with extra work, for example. Going to see a teacher for studies or revising a question that you needed help over. Unfortunately, in the times in which we're living in, would be misconstrued and is something else that could possibly be going on. Of course, there's stories that made their way into the headlines a couple of weeks ago, but it is not the only one. From what we hear and understand, and these stories are starting to emerge, and that's what usually happens, that when something like this makes its way into the limelight, others then have an opportunity to then talk about their experiences. Sure, some people will make it through the cracks who are not genuine in their activity, but for the most part, you'll have people who then also want to share their stories. You're a children's rights activist. You've seen these things. You've heard them. Are the emerging stories that we are seeing actually an image of the true situation?
Thank you very much for this question. First and foremost, I would like our viewers to understand the definition of a child, so that as we proceed with this discussion, they can keep to the facts. According to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, of which Kenya is a signatory, a child is any person below the age of 18, and I would limit my discussion to that. Now, as far as the emerging issues of child abuse, recently we had the news about Alliance Girls, which is one of the most prestigious schools in Kenya, and of course there are reports of Kaplong School in Bomet that has been closed due to a strike related to sexual harassment of children. I would like to say that this reflects the true image of the situation of child abuse and violence here in Kenya, and this is further strengthened by research that has been carried out in Kenya. The first publication was in 2009, and then in 2019 we have the reports on violence against children in Kenya, and it clearly demonstrates that more than half of boys and more than half of girls in Kenya suffered forms of violence before they attained the age of 18. Therefore, I would say that Kenya has failed children and the government has failed our children.
The research is not just numbers. There's something in that research, there's something in those findings that would make you say that. What is it?
Well, I would wish to say that the Convention on the Rights of the Child places an obligation, an international obligation on the state parties, including Kenya, that requires us to protect our children. And if you look at what is happening currently in Kenya, where schools that are supposed to be the safe places for children turn out to be the worst places where we can put our children in. We've got so many incidences of violations that even infringe on the very code of regulations of Teachers Service Commission. And these studies demonstrate at a very high level instances of child abuse. We've had cases of children being defiled, and the consequences of such violence and abuse are far-reaching, with children who contemplate even a suicide. And this is really not right. And I call on Kenyans to stand in solidarity with the children and protect them.
My question is, we've just looked at the most recent examples, and you've worked in this area for a very long time, I'm sure, where we've just been talking about Kaplong, Alliance Girls. But when we were having this conversation sometime last week, in relation to the Alliance Girl story, we were getting feedback, and the people were saying, look, this is happening in Kisii in this school. This is happening in this school, in this place. And the argument then will be, is this something we've just started seeing now? Is this like a trend now? Or is this now being reported, but it's been going on for years and years? What are the numbers looking like? Paint a picture of the current situation that we have, especially in this country.
We have to look back into the history of education in Kenya back to the time of independence, and the first 3 decades of our independence were marked by gross violation of children's rights. And if you walk in our villages, you will realize that most of the teachers that were in the profession in the 1960s, in the 1970s, and in the 1980s, most of their spouses, especially their second wives, unfortunately, were their pupils. Now, this shows that there was a culture, there was a tradition after independence, which was perpetuated by patriarchy, in which male teachers preyed on girls as early as 1963, 1964, up to the 1980s. Then in the 1989, of course, there are now discussions about the rights of the children, the need to protect the child, and so on. So from that time, and with the passage of the Children Act that was amended, the Children Act of 2001, now we have the Children Act of 2022 that now guarantees the rights of children, and so on. Now people are coming out, they are talking about it, but it is nothing new. Children have suffered in Kenya for a very long time. And as I said at the beginning of this show, and now I reiterate, the reports that were conducted, those studies were conducted by the government itself, not even by the civil society. And it shows that more than half of the girls and more than half of the boys in Kenya have suffered forms of violence, which includes physical, emotional, and sexual violence. Now, this demonstrates beyond any doubt that child violence, including sexual abuse, is rampant in Kenya, and we have to rise up and call it out and call on the state agents. We want to ask the PS for education, the CS for education, why are they quiet? They need to stand up and uphold the Constitution of Kenya under Article 53, which provides for the rights of children.
Let's take a break at this point. Davis Akombo is here with us this morning. We're looking at this abuse issue that is more rampant in schools, you would agree, and what essentially ought to be done. And one of the things that we're looking at is justice and what the justice system then prescribes for this, but then also a societal issue that calls on conversations to happen, not under the cover of darkness, but, you know, in plain sight and in light. We'll continue with this conversation when we come back from this. It's now 29 minutes to 10 o'clock. We'll be back right after this.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up your... This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
When you are unwell, you need a healthcare partner who will prioritize your welfare. Aga Khan University Hospital has brought specialized care near to you through their 54 medical centers across East Africa. And now the hospital has brought world-class care to Raptor Road, Westlands at the Prominent Building. Some of the specialist services offered in this clinic include family physician, pediatricians, well baby, gynecologist, ENT specialist, counseling psychologist, nutrition and weight loss, among others. The Aga Khan University Hospital has also made medical checkups more available through our subsidized wellness packages. These packages are available at a clinic in your neighborhood. Do not wait until it is complicated. When diseases are detected early, there are more treatment options, better outcomes, and quicker recovery. From as low as 10,415, you can get a comprehensive medical checkup in this clinic and at any of our medical centers. Visit any Aga Khan University Hospital Medical Center in your hood today or call 0730-011-888. Aga Khan University Hospital. World-class care here and now.
This month on Star Times, love burns, romance gets hotter, secrets run deeper, and the drama never lets up. Loyalty is tested in a war for power on Gangs of Manila on Novella E. Gigi seeks vengeance at any cost in beautiful revenge. Witness the timeless love of Rama and Sita in Ramayan on Novella E+. Honor meets heartbreak in the Chinese drama Feud on ST Kung Fu. Two sisters, one destiny. Together, they are unstoppable in Divya Drishti on Rambo TV+. Renew your subscription for 2 months on your current bouquet and get a free upgrade to the next bouquet for 2 months. Dial *858# for self-service or call 0730-710077 for customer care. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Coming in at 25 minutes to 10 o'clock, Davis Okombo is a children's rights activist. And we're looking at this, what has then gone from, first of all, when the stories start to come out. And this is a thing that we've heard of these stories before. But then when it comes out and things get closer home for a lot of people, then the initial shock is there. The shock is there, and then there's worry that comes after that, because then you start to ask questions about, are your children safe in school? And you talk about then at the time where it was almost considered normal that teachers would marry their former students. But now when we look at it, it's it's not normal. It's not normal. And then you want to ask yourself, what happened? What would have happened before? And so what was normal? Consider, even as terrible as it is for us to say it, what was normal was that this kind of behavior then happened between male teachers and female students. But now what are we seeing? That this kind of behavior is happening between male teachers and female students. It's happening between male teachers and male students. It's happening between female teachers and male students across board. And it's become more intensified. What has happened? Have we become more deviant as society? Or are the lines too lax that we've then been able to just do whatever we want?
I would like to begin by stating that there is no justification whatsoever for child sexual exploitation. However, there are quite a number of factors that significantly lead to an increase in the numbers of sexual abuse of children. Perhaps I should begin by describing that we have laws, we have policies. However, there is a lot of laxity in the enforcement of these very, very laws. For instance, Article 22 of the Teachers Service Commission Code of Regulations talks about sexual relationship between a teacher and a learner. But the weakness therein, first, is that the TSC code does not define a child. It only speaks about a learner. Secondly, the TSC code of conduct only provides that investigations are conducted where there is suspicion of sexual activity, and if a teacher is found guilty, then this person is deregistered and dismissed as a teacher, and then it ends there. But we are saying that there is need for criminal responsibility. Teachers that have sexually abused our children should undergo the due process of the law. They should be prosecuted, and we have regimes like the Sexual Offences Act that provides, clearly what needs to be done in such cases. Secondly, we have the factor of patriarchy in Kenya. Kenya is a society where men think that they are more superior and they take more aggressive roles because of how gender norms have socialized them to be, and therefore many men want to be in control, and they use sexual violence as a way of suppressing the rights and freedoms of girls and women. Therefore, we call for gender equality. We need to treat our women and girls as equal partners together with us. We need to, walk away from our harmful cultural practices that really perpetrated sexual violence against children. Thirdly, there is the proliferation of, content in the media which exposes our children to risk of sexual exploitation. We have a lot of online sexual exploitation of children, and this is not properly regulated in Kenya, and yet DCI has one of the most developed surveillance system which they should use to go after these pedophiles who exploit our children. Therefore, I would say in conclusion that in spite of the factors that contribute to child sexual abuse, there is no justification. We cannot say that because of poverty, our children should continue to be at risk of sexual exploitation. There is no justification at all.
So in your opinion, what is the weakest link? Because there is no justification here. So we have these reports of children being abused. Reports are there. The authorities are there. There is what the Act provides for. There is what is in the code of conduct from TSC. But when a child has been abused, and we've seen many cases, they rarely make it to conviction. What do you think is the weakest link?
In my view, we have laxity in law enforcement. We have very, very elaborate and very strict laws and policies in Kenya that if we can enforce to the fullest, then children can be safe. I will give you a few examples. In the Evidence Act of Kenya, it provides that where a victim of sexual violation can go before a competent court and give an oral evidence, if the court is convinced of those submissions, then the suspect can be convicted even in the absence of material evidence. What does that mean? If a child has been defiled and this child goes before a court and the evidence convinces the court, then even in the absence of DNA results and any other material evidence, the Evidence Act gives the court the authority to convict such a person. The Sexual Offences Act itself of 2006 speaks about head teachers, and any employee in a school. That is under Article 24. It's very, very clear. Even if an offense has not led to to conviction, the law says that such a head teacher or a teacher can be convicted on the basis of the abuse of their office. Again, the Children Act and also the Penal Code is very clear on what needs to be done. And lastly, we passed the 2010 Constitution, which was promulgated in August of 2010. Article 2, sub-article 6 says that any convention or treaty to which Kenya is a signatory becomes law under this constitution. And therefore, all these conventions, the UN Rights on the Convention of the Child, the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, by the Constitution of 2010 becomes law under the Constitution of Kenya. Therefore, we ask ourselves, what is wrong with the Director of Public Prosecutions? He is the person who is allowed, to initiate public prosecutions. Why are we not seeing those prosecutions? Secondly, look at what the TSC Code of Conduct provides. When a teacher is suspected to have committed a sexual offense, then the administrator of the school, that is the head teacher, initiates an investigation also through the board before it is escalated to the TSC. Now ask yourself, does the teacher or the board of management of school have the legal and technical capacity to investigate sexual offenses? Why is this investigative role left to the teacher? What if the head teacher is the suspect in this case? Who is going to initiate those investigations? And yet we know that the Constitution gives that mandate to the DCI. Why can the DCI move with their Subarus to these schools and initiate investigations and collect evidence that can sustain a conviction in a court of law?
So those are the questions that we're asking. But the thing is here is that even when you say it's left to the responsibility of teachers, head teachers, principals, whatever, to do the investigations, they're not doing them. Are they doing them? They're not doing them. That there is an element of shame that it brings to the name of a school who's been long regarded and revered in a certain manner for you to bring out something like this. And that the truth of the matter is that an adult who is seeking sexual favors, who is seeking a relationship with a child, that there is an element of deviance here. And such things are rarely addressed. But one thing that's coming out clearly from all of this, that this is happening with more intensity and it is happening with a greater occurrence around the country, and that there are some parts where these stories never see the light of day, but that children are finishing from school, male and female, and are coming into a society where they're already debased. So how serious does it need to get before something then is done about it? Because we can see now in some cases that we've heard most recently, unless we are beating the drums very loudly, and unless people are unrelenting in their making sure that this comes out into the public, these will never see the light of day. They will be buried as far as the schools are. They will be buried under the cover of darkness. Nobody will talk about them, and the shame is the cover for any story that might come out. We're dealing with a very dangerous thing here, and then we wonder later why our society is diseased. We are letting young men and women into society that have been violated while they're supposed to be learning and are at the most vulnerable times of their lives. What really needs to be done beyond explaining this? Should we talk about it more? Should we not be shy about saying that this is happening? Should we shine the spotlight on those who are believed to be the perpetrators? I mean, I'm conflicted, and I think many are, because you're worried and you're scared. The reaction of many a parent is to remove your child from the offending school or from the offending teacher. Is that the solution?
In my view, any teacher who feels ashamed that the issues will come out in the open and so on, and therefore they want to hide it, should actually be recommended for prosecution for obstruction of justice. They become part and parcel of the perpetration of sexual abuse against children. No teacher should ever feel ashamed. If anything, the TSC Code of Conduct provides that these very, very teachers have to protect the children. Now, having said that, I think it is very, very important for all Kenyans, and thank you for this platform. We have to speak about child protection until it reaches where it matters. We want our parliament to be involved, and next week I will move under Article 119 of the Constitution to petition our parliament to amend the TSC Code of Conduct so that teachers are not just dismissed but not taken through the due process of the law. Again, allow me to state that our children are innocent. They are still young. And remember, when we are talking about this conversation, remember that there have been incidences of sexual abuse even against children in grade 2. A child in grade 2 is about the age of 8 or 7, and these children have been molested. How do you expect such a child to come out in the open? It must be the responsibility of all of us. We must speak about it. The media should be in the forefront to speak about it. We must have a monitoring system, and we need child protection guidelines in every school. For instance, if a student wants to seek guidance from a teacher, perhaps to explain a theory and so on, is it okay if this child can sit in a staff room with a male teacher without any other teacher? You know, these are guidelines that should come out very, very clearly. I would call upon Kenyans to stand up, make reports of such violations, and the police should also support the people of Kenya when such allegations are made. They should be able to carry out investigations. Lastly, there is the aspect of corruption that makes it difficult to talk about this. Because of poverty, some children that have been sexually abused remain silent. The effort to seek justice is undermined because the teachers that have been accused go back to the parents and bribe them and silence the child, and the child even is transferred to another different county, so they cannot give evidence. So these are the issues that we are saying are wrong. And Kenyans, if we want to build a generation of children that are protected well, everyone must stand up and say no to child sexual exploitation.
Yes, and it's true. I mean, in looking at, you know, the cultural changes that we've had, and looking at the communities, the cycle to break the culture of silence is not an easy one. I'm curious to find out from you, because this is an area where you've really not only researched on it, but you have actively been part of trying to advocate for the rights of children. I'm curious to find out, what do other countries do? Because we we've established the weak links. We've established where we have laws, clear laws. We've established where we have, like you're saying, you're going to petition to have a change of whatever the TSC. If you're to compare Kenya to other countries, because it's also important to just mirror and just look at what are the best practices, what do other countries then do, because we also have this culture of if there is an offense, a child has been abused by a teacher, the first call is dismiss that teacher, step aside, at higher levels, resign. But there are no consequences, really. Resigning and stepping aside is one thing, or being on suspension is one thing. But then we don't hear much after a suspension. It doesn't lead to any investigation that would lead them to a conviction. What do other countries do?
Under international practice, as far as the Convention on the Rights of the Child is concerned, it is guided by what we call Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties. And under Article 26 of this convention, it provides a principle known as pacta sunt servanda, which means that agreements must be kept. It therefore means that every treaty that is in force, the state parties must implement it in good faith. Now, all state parties to the Convention on the Rights of the Child, currently it's only United States that has not ratified this convention. It is the only convention all over the world that has achieved near universal ratification. All nations of this world look into the issues of child protection in the mirror of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. If I give you the example of the federal government of Germany, if a teacher is accused of having a sexual relationship with a child, one, this teacher is dismissed. This teacher is deregistered from the register of teachers in Germany. And thirdly, and most important, this teacher undergoes criminal prosecution so that criminal responsibility and accountability is established. In Kenya, TSC only ends to the point of dismissal, and then the teacher is free. The teacher, since they hold a Bachelor of Education, they can end up becoming MCA or even a member of parliament. Or maybe teaching another school. Or teaching another school, or even become a priest, continuing abusing Sunday school children. So this is very, very wrong. And it must stop. Kenyans need to stop. Secondly, there is a register which is open. Anyone can access to see the sex offenders. Yes. Now here in Kenya, I hear there is one, but you have to make an application. We need a register that is open for everyone. You just click a button and you see who is who.
Like you just go on Google, type on
here we don't have it. It's hidden. Child abuse is hidden. Then all these matters are also hidden. We want it to be open.
Why is it hidden?
Well, there are issues of data protection and so on and so forth, but it is a wrong practice. We need to adopt a practice where sex offenders, we can know, even if they want to be president, we can say that this candidate is a sex offender. And you know, such people, even under international law, if you want to work, for example, in the United States and so on, they do a background check. They check whether you are a pedophile or not. But here in Kenya, we have so many people who come even from the US, Canada, and so on, who are non-pedophiles in their own countries.
And run orphanages.
And they come here with a lot of money, end up, preying on girls and so on. And these are issues we are saying are very, very wrong, and we must say no at all costs.
Why is it difficult? So it seems as though when we see cases like this, or as we're hearing and they're starting to come out into the public more often, that there seems to be an allegiance that is born with the alleged offender, as opposed to an allegiance with the prey, with the child. Why is that?
Well, as I mentioned, and I also reiterate, Kenya is a patriarchal society. It's a society where women and girls in an event of a sexual offense and so on, we are first to blame the girls and women. If our girls and women wear trousers and miniskirt and so on, and they become sexually violated, the first question people say, how did they dress? What were they doing there? And so on. So we have a culture where people think that women and girls have no rights, and they are accused. And that is why you will find in Kenya and many African societies, it's somehow acceptable that men can have different partners and so on. And if a woman does the same, then they are being accused of being immoral and so on. So we must rise and say no to cases where victims of sexual violence are re-victimized again, first in the police station, where police that are not child-friendly, start asking very unethical questions, and this is very, very wrong, causing more trauma to these women and girls, and that is one reason why people do not want to come up and speak. So I think we need to change this attitude and accept that men and women are equal. We are equal here in Kenya, and we should be treated with that respect.
Indeed. These are probably the beginnings or like the continuations of conversations around what should happen. I mean, it's interesting that you talk about sex offenders registry, at the same time talk about it should not end with a teacher being dismissed, but should go towards, prosecution, that to see that you would actually raise that before Parliament next week is steps that we need to be taking. But then I think beyond that also, the need for this thing to stop being shrouded in silence, because we do so much damage by not discussing these issues, by not bringing them out into the open. Davis Okombo, thank you for being here this morning. We must continue to talk about these things and protect the future, protect the present, even though we can't protect the past. Asante sana, and for being here on the Situation Room with us this morning. Not to forget that if you're looking for healthcare along Thika Road, you can go to the Aga Khan University hospital clinics that are in different parts of that area, from Thika Road itself, then on towards Roysambu, and then into Ruiru, Joja, and Kennel. So you can find what you need in terms of healthcare. It's called 0730 011 888. That's 0730 011 888. World-class care here and now. Good morning at 10 a.m.